Tink.
Hello and welcome back to an episode of Sparky Set Corner. Tonight's gotta be. Oh, shush. Tonight's topic has gotta be, what is everyone's version of doxing? After watching a stream yesterday on Manifest Destiny, it kind of brought up an interesting question. Everyone has their own different version of what doxing is. So right now, the people I've got in here is Spectre06 Gaming, we've got Cadunt, Gen Z, Damianis Nubis, Anna Vlad, and Ace. And I hear was supposed to be in. He might be popping in later, but he was preoccupied at the moment. So if you want, just go ahead and go in line in order and introduce yourselves, and we'll get started.
Don't lie, Anti-Hero is fucking fapping a mean one out right now. That's the only reason why he's not here.
So, Spectre, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sorry, I was tweeting that out, you know. But
it's fine.
I'm Spectre. I do video game commentary, low effort memes, and I make sure that everybody is very upset with me. And I'm very good at that last one. Let me tell you.
You know how to push some buttons, but all in all, it's all bants. Cadunt.
What's up, bitches? I do things. I talk on streams, and yeah, not safe for Wednesdays on Manifest Destiny.
Hey, a quick question, Kadon. Am I raiding your house like it's the Songte prison? I did make that threat a few weeks ago.
What'd you say?
Am I invading your house like it's the Songte prison? I did tell Zell and you that I was going to do that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, you're not, and good luck trying. So yeah, no, thanks. Okay, bye.
Next.
Next.
No, if you ever want to invade Cadunt's house, just tell her, get on her knees, go fucking crawl, make me a sandwich, you beautiful bitch.
You have to make me crawl. God fucking damn it, Ace. How hard is it to fuck a girl till she's crawling to make you a fucking sandwich you rightfully earned by dicking her that hard? So anyway, next.
Not that hard, just in the ass.
Gen Z.
I was told this was going to be a
Gen Z, channel. What's for you? What explain yourself, Gen Z.
Yes, well, I was enjoying the show. My name's Gen Z. I do commentary on politics and try to kind of walk the middle line. I've also been known for my MRA rants, that's men's right activist rants. And I do primarily on Facebook with my Facebook page. I also do some commentary when it comes to a few video games, but mostly that's just to piss off Anita. But I want to hear more about your crawling, Cadunt.
Maybe later.
Next.
Yeah, Anubis, yeah.
Hey, I'm Anubis. I do Rackus News every day, Monday through Friday. I also do Half Cooked, which is kind of just me just babbling for half an hour or something. I also stream games. Right now it's Subnautica. I'm hoping to get Far Cry 5 here in the next month or so, and I'll start doing that after Subnautica. And I also have master classes, so if you're looking for the last episode of part 3 of Egyptian Demons, I just released it.
Okay.
And how you get into Brock is how you get into Cadunt's house is you say Brock has sent you and she'll let you right in.
Next.
You can trust that.
So things that are going to get you killed, I'm pretty sure that's at the top of my fucking list.
Yeah.
Love
if you really no. Well, I will address this really fast. If you've never tasted what the end of a 12-gauge shotgun, then you go ahead and you do that.
I mean, if you have tasted the end of the 12-gauge shotgun at this point, we need to get the Exorcist in here.
Oh, darn.
Next.
All right, Vlad, you're up.
Hello, I am Anu Vlad, and I need a beer, so I'm just gonna go get a beer. So, yeah.
He's our resident bathroom philosopher and overused prison fuck toy.
Yeah, okay. I feel triggered right now. I'm gonna go lick a shotgun. So I'll be right back.
Man,
get on. There you go.
No, don't lie here. because he's like the fifth fucking coming of Christ. Like, look at his fucking icon. That's fucking totally fucking Jesus.
That's right. I am the fifth coming of Christ all over your chest, face, and neck.
Wait.
Oh,
Don't
baby.
next after that.
Baby.
Go on.
Anyways,
Go on.
Oh, I'm up. I'm Ace. I do things occasionally. Like, I show up on the Can't stream where we have musical literacy and we talk about music. And yeah, like, I got nothing else because I fucking hate streaming and the fucking bullshit drama.
well, hopefully this ain't gonna be drama. This is just gonna be a stream of us talking about what each of our own versions of what doxing is. Because there's a lot of people out there that have their own terminology, the view of it. One person's version of doxing is different from another person's. And that's pretty much what this is going to be. We're going to go through and just explain it. We'll look at terminologies, terms, and kind of delve into the legal aspects. Now, I do have a lot of people in here, and I do have a lot of rowdy people. And one more just showed up. And I'll introduce him in just a minute. But the rule is, and I'm sorry, Lo-Fi, I'm stealing this from you. But if it gets too rowdy in here, I'm going to play this.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Gay! This crap!
And that is supposed to be a safe word to get everyone shut up. So hopefully it works. And the last person that showed up... No, I probably won't, but it'll be funny. But the last person showed up is Anti-Hero. So, Anti, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anti-Hero.
Shut up, damn it.
Nice. Okay, next.
I mean, what am I like? Is there a format to introducing myself? Should I say more? I mean, what do you
Hi,
want?
Anti-Hero. I'm Ace. I have a slave a drinking problem. What's your problem, too?
Hi, Anti-Hero.
My problem. Hold on. My problem is
Oh God.
That you can't stop.
They only get one problem.
Fucking AC. Now, great. Now, okay,
there's my problem right there.
Oh, boy.
And I'm gonna start now. So
We're showing what we're drinking. This is what I'm drinking. Fucking.
No.
Are we
Lo-Fi?
playing that show your drink game?
Oh, God.
Dude, I'm drinking Natty Light, man.
Lo-Fi, I didn't invite you because you and Tyro were kind of sick of talking about doxing yesterday, so I kind of figured you didn't want to talk about it today.
Yeah, Tyro is being a bitch.
Also, Lo-Fi's kind of mean to me, and she'd make me cry, and I don't want to cry on stream.
And I can't imagine why after 9 hours of streaming about it.
Yeah, dude, they can no longer give Sparky shit for long streams. Am I right, though? Like they gave Sparky so much shit, and then they topped it.
Dude, I figure I finished 2 discussion pieces for my master's degree I'm taking in college. I got a fucking Rackus News video done. I come back in like 5 hours and I click on the stream and I'm like, oh, they're done. No, they're still going. Psych! I'm like, what the hell?
Gotcha, bitch.
Shit, yeah, they
Gotcha,
did.
bitch!
So what do we got?
Dedication.
So we're talking about doxing and shit, right?
So well, supposedly, let's get there.
So, everyone here has ran across either your typical doxer, somebody who wants to be a douchebag on the internet, or somebody that has been affected by doxing in some way, form, shape, or fashion. And I'm going to just go down the road and, Spectre, you're going to be picked on because you're the first one that shows up in the hangouts.
Hooray. That's terrible, though.
When it comes to doxing, go ahead and give a brief example of what you believe, what you think doxing is.
Oh, this will be good.
You're wrong.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Well, Kadun says I'm wrong, so I'm just not even going to waste everybody's time.
That was me, god damn it.
Well, then you sound like a woman, don't you?
Apparently.
Hey, let's attempt to stay on some kind of topic, shall we?
Nah, it's not going to happen. So, trying to get somebody's personal information to equate their online persona with their real life, who they are, and using that for malicious means, usually, to silence them because you don't like what they're saying, or just, intending to use it as a cudgel against them when they really haven't done anything wrong. That's kind of my definition of doxing.
Okay. Let's see. Mine is, it's pretty much a textbook. It's using anything that is not available in public domain. So if it's anything that's not available in public domain, like private records, something that you gotta pay for to log, such as anything like that, the person and the person's raw-handed or anything like that, taking information that you can otherwise either, unless you just knew the person or had access in some various way to get a hold of it, not by normal means, and using that to either like for blackmail, threatening, being a dick, or intending harm to someone. And that term, public domain, for me, a lot of people don't understand and really fully grasp what public domain means.
Sparky, define being a dick, because honestly, we've been a dick a couple of times on this stream already.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Just being a dick in general. It's like, hey, I got your picture here on my meme it.
oh, like how you did to me. So did you dox me?
No.
Sparky's a doxer. You fuck Sparky. Oh my god.
Again, this is what.
How did you guys not know what he is?
Sparky's Docs Corner.
No, public domain.
Auntie, real quick, it's that sexy voice that gets me every time of his. I just can't resist it.
It's that ass whip.
I'm telling you.
So
on top
what
of
were you
doxing
saying,
people,
Sparky?
Oh God. No, public domain. If you make your information available, like if you don't have a Facebook account that's hidden or privated, and somebody's able to make the connection, that's public domain. If you reveal your face on a YouTube channel or a stream or anything like that, that's public domain. So if somebody grabs that and uses it, technically you can't cry doxing because you put that out there.
True.
That is where public domain, doxing, internet, all this stuff interconnects in some way, shape, or form. And people think, well, because it's on Facebook and on Twitter and it gets put on Twitter from Facebook, that's doxing. No, you put information on Facebook, you didn't take the proper precautions to protect it or lock it down, and somebody found it and got access to it and put it on other places. Facebook has a rule, and it's even stated in the terms of service and policy. If you post anything on Facebook, it's public domain. Anyone can do anything with it. So that's something people don't take into account when they start throwing out he's a doxer, he's a doxer, he's a doxer. Hindsight, that's my basic overview of it. I'll get into more detail so with everyone else later on. But Kadan,
Yes.
What's your version?
My version, if it's not all right, if I'm on Facebook and I don't share out the fact that I'm on a YouTube video because I use a different account, and somebody else who knows that I am decides to share it, that to me counts as a dox, because you are taking stuff that I'm keeping private in one area of my life. I am keeping something private. If you just so happen to have a picture of me because you know me in real life and you decide to share it with somebody, you doxed me to that person. If a person just so happens to get a picture of you after a lot of investigating, searching down and hunting down, because a lot of us don't have our YouTube or our Twitter even connected with our Facebooks. Then there's plenty who do. But like I have a private Facebook, and then I have my Twitter and my YouTube. Those are separate entities, and I keep those separate for a fucking reason. And if you want to go through and hunt down my information, or you just so happen to have a picture of mine from in any way, shape, or form, and you decide you want to share it, you just doxed. To me, it's sharing private things that are kept private, kept separate from whatever social media entity that you've been keeping it private from. That to me is doxing.
That's good. That's a really good definition. Jen, what is your version?
So, my version of doxing is almost exactly the same as yours, but I think my take on it's slightly different. I mean, honestly, I think you got it great word for word. But I think that when you put yourself on the internet and you have shown your face in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter. You can still look up IP addresses, and it's so easy to find somebody. I think that doxing is an inevitability. I know that may upset some people, but the fact of the matter is there's no anonymity anymore unless you're taking a lot of precautions. And you do need to take a lot of precautions. There's a reason why these programmers are rushing to make software that can change IP addresses, that can block people from trying to get to your accounts. But even then, somebody that has a 2-year degree can get simply around most of those protections. I don't see an effective way to not be doxxed. So my opinion is it's an inevitability. And I think that what I have done is I've gone ahead and just connected my stuff with my Facebook and embraced it.
Okay, that's another good example. Anubis, you're up next.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, the doxing for me is pretty simple. It depends on what your persona is. If let's say Kadant or Ace or Antihero or any of you actually for that matter, even if I knew your personal information, it depends what your persona is on YouTube, and that's how I'd address you. I'd never use your real name. I'd never use your real address, even if I knew you in real life, because to me there's I'm very compartmentalized, and YouTube to me is one world. The real world is a completely different one. That's why you never hear me say, when somebody says, stuff like, how old are you? You won't hear me saying a whole lot of stuff. Or where do you live? Or what state? Or what the weather's like? Or anything like that. I won't describe anything personal because this is this world. So as long as you keep it in that theater. Now, I do a lot of reporting on news and stuff like that. So the reason I do that, the reason I compartmentalize it is because if I take the shit out of a reporter, that reporter has given me their name. If they give me their name in the story, I will use their name. If they give me their image or their face and their name on the news report, I will use that. But I'm not going to go digging for shit. I'm not going to do that. So to me, it's all about the persona that person has professionally, one way or the other. There's just lines you don't cross. For me, it's like going up and screaming at somebody in public. It's not against the law. And I agree with Gen Z. It's probably going to be inevitable. Somebody's going to do it to you. But it's something you don't do just because of politeness.
Okay, there you go. Another example that's different from all the other ones. Vlad, you want to elaborate on yours?
Yay.
And actually, and before you do, Jen, do you have a Twitter?
Who?
Gen Z. Do you have a Twitter?
I do have a Twitter. I've already tweeted you out twice.
Okay. I'll look for it because I didn't have it. I didn't know what to look for on it.
Oh,
so.
and
absolutely, that was my failure. I will get it.
And real quick, I love Gen Z. He's the man.
Yeah, just put in the side chat. put it in the main chat if you want. Vlad, I'm sorry. Continue on.
Better be. But no. So for me, my definition of doxing is how do I put this? Well, first and foremost, this comes into my whole viewpoint on morality. So legally speaking, there are aspects associated with doxing that are just outright illegal normally, such as using that information for blackmail, just as an example, or vigilantism. But the fact is, at the end of the day, like I think that a lot of people are getting too butthurt over it in a way. Like what I mean by that is people like Polypod or whatever his name is, like taking vaguing out the definition to such a broad degree that it becomes irrelevant. And the fact is, in my mind, we can make the argument, and that even if I agree that having private information similar to something like Kadunk said and some others after her, that if you have private information, you share it publicly, like that's doxing. Like that you can make that point as a definition of doxing, but and that's fine. But the question is, it is legal, like in certain contexts to do. There's nothing necessarily illegal about it. And so like I tend to try and base my morality around the law. And so to some degree or another. Now, granted, it may not be something that I would do, but then again, like some people consider sharing Twitter DMs as doxing. And honestly, I'll share Twitter DMs all fucking day long if I need to. Like if you are being a douchebag and I can prove that you're not a douchebag or that you are being a douchebag, even though you act like you're not, I'll share the fucking DMs just to prove my fucking point. So don't fucking DM me without that knowledge in mind. So like, and with all that said, I think that the ultimate point that I really want to make here is that if you the proposition that, boy, I want to be on the internet and I want total privacy is fucking absurd. If you want total privacy, get off the fucking internet, throw away your fucking phone, go build a fucking log cabin on a mountain somewhere, marry some stupid caveman looking cunt, and shut the fuck up. Like that is ultimately what you get if you want total fucking privacy. So in other words, if you want privacy, stay off the internet. That's the ultimate point. Don't come into the internet entitled, fucking expecting that everybody respect your fucking privacy. Don't come, as somebody said on Twitter, don't jump into the ring expecting not to get hit.
That's that's a fairly bold explanation. So with that, we'll go ahead and go anti-hero now.
Well, as far as doxing goes, basically, I think it's just anytime you go digging up private personal information about anybody for whatever purpose. And I think the issue that needs to be stressed is private personal information. So sharing Twitter DMs, I think is skeevy as fuck. But I don't know if that's necessarily doxing unless inside that information there is private personal information. So we're talking full names, addresses, phone numbers, locations, stuff like that, where they work, that kind of shit. To me, that's doxing. So, and I don't care what the reason you do it for is. But when you release, or doxing really comes down to when you release that particular personal private information. It's the release that is doxing. I think we should also make that clear. I think if you're gathering up private personal information about somebody, you're still a fuckbag. But I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily doxing, because doxing, I think, has an element of distribution in there.
That's fair.
But other than that, it's like I said, it's that distribution of private personal information. If anybody works in the retail sector, if it counts as HIPAA or classified confidential type stuff, then yeah, that's all dox worthy material. That's about it, really.
Okay.
So for you, it comes down to really intent.
Not even intent. It's more disseminate. We're talking straight about the definition of doxing, specifically doxing. So for me, it's not so much intent, so much as the dissemination of personal private information. For whatever reason, it could just be to say, hey, I'm doing somebody does some sort of really stupid version of market research and just drops like a list of shit. It could be an accidental thing. They may have done it not on purpose at all, but if you drop an accidental phone book of 200 people on some sort of web service, you've doxed them.
Yeah.
It's dissemination for me that is doxing. Now, there are other things that go into it when somebody starts looking for your information. But to me, doxing is when you actually drop that info.
Yeah.
And it's specifically that personal private stuff.
Well, I do want to add, though, that sharing like social security numbers and shit like that publicly is actually illegal.
100%.
So, I mean, and that's kind of like why I say, like, I don't categorize that as doxing, because legally it's not even classified as doxing. It's classified as an entirely separate law. Because like what I find this boils down to is ultimately people who expect privacy and whine because that privacy is being violated. You know, and granted, I don't have my face on here. I'm not using my real name. And in that, with that in mind, I mean, I don't believe in handing the thief the keys. Is ultimately the point. But I'm not gonna. If somebody doxed me, I'm not gonna go and make a whining campaign, because at some point I have to take personal responsibility for being on social media to begin with.
Well, I think we can dive into that later. I think right now we're just focusing on our personal definitions of what everything is. So, like I said, for me,
I'm drinking, so
it's okay. So am I. For me, it's literally it boils down to the dissemination of personal private information is doxing.
Okay.
Collection is something else entirely.
Yep.
Ace, since everyone's went about theirs, you go ahead and introduce yours.
He might still be on the phone.
Yeah, I think it is.
That was beautiful, Ace. Beautiful. I totally agree with your definition of doxing right there. Like, good job. No.
Silence is compliance.
I don't agree with Ace at all, and I'd just like to say that faggalism is not good. So screw you, Ace.
Well, and I do want to say, though, I do understand that the idea that sharing private information that isn't illegal to share, I kind of see that as, I can see how people could say that's asshole-ish, and I agree. So I forgot to say that in my little mild rant there. So, and and sharing Twitter DMs, again, I would agree is asshole-ish. But I mean, at what point did I ever say that I was nice?
Well, I would say there is definitely a distinction between being an asshole and doxing. If you're DMing somebody on a there's something I always ask when I hire on a new worker. I ask them this particular question: what's more important, phone calls, text messages? In this case, we'll say DMs or emails. And most everybody will say phone calls are the most important, and that is not true. The only record that exists on a phone call is between you and the individual, which you can remember. Text messages would be in the middle because you can take photos of that. It exists on 2 pieces of equipment at minimum, and then emails are the most important. And when you do anything over text message, DMs, or emails, you need to consider it public property. Because at any moment, either one of you, either the recipient or the sender, can turn around and use that in the court of law. They can use that against you online, and you need to accept the responsibility for that. It's not their fault that you DM them these things. In fact, it is ours because we made the decision to do that.
Agreed.
It's like with me. I have a Facebook,
there you
and it has my IOL self on it, not my online persona I have on Twitter and on YouTube and all that good stuff. However, I take the precautions to go through and make sure that it cannot be found or looked up by anyone unless you're a friend of a friend. You can't look it up if you can't find my account if I'm not friends with you. I took the precautions out.
Actually, I do want to say something to that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I will say I can take your face off of your YouTube account, and there is software where I can track your face all the way to your private non-persona Facebook account.
That's fine. You can have my name and type it in. You won't find it unless you're friends with me.
Well,
I've checked out, made sure of it.
Well, I mean, I might not. I can still see your face, though. I mean,
no, it doesn't show up. It's privated in such a way through settings that unless you are friends with a friend of mine, or I am friends with you, you cannot find the account. And they give you those settings in Facebook. You gotta go through and implement them.
Gentlemen, not to be rude, but this is a little bit off topic. Let's rein it back.
We're just waiting on Ace, I thought.
Well, we were. But anyways, no, it's like I have my information out there on Facebook. And I consider that separate from Twitter. And I consider it the same way as what Kadant has said. However, I gotta take the the gumption of somebody was able to find that, even though I'm taking every precaution I can, if somebody was to find, my stuff on Facebook and link it to my Twitter, at the end of the day, I mean, it's my fault because I put the stuff out there and I've got to take some responsibility for it. However, it's also a real dickbat move and it's real scummy for someone to try to connect those dots and make it public for everyone else. At the end of the day, you got the aspect of doxing someone, and you got the aspect of being blamed for doxing someone, and then you got the aspect of getting doxed, and then faking getting doxed, which has happened. It just depends on where you fall into the category, and basically who you piss off enough and who's autistic enough to do it.
Autismspeaks.org.
But anyone else want to jump on that? This is now just an open discussion on it. Unless you want me to go ahead and just go through the definitions of it.
Well, I got something to say on Anu about his theory on the if it's not legal, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a problem with that, man, because I'm getting my master's degree in criminal justice, and the morality of a society directly impacts that of the law. So you really can't say I'm going to do something that's immoral, but it's not it's not illegal, and then turn around, hold on, and then turn around and say, but since it's not illegal, I'm fine. No, you're not. By that society's very definition of legality, you are not okay. It's just that it's not illegal per se in a court of law. So that's what I'm saying. You can't walk up to somebody and scream in their face because it's not polite. You don't do that in normal society, but you won't be arrested for it. But we do have rules and laws against walking into a theater and screaming fire. It's just a more intense form.
Well, yeah. Okay. So the thing is with that is in my statement that I made, I was going to say in that it doesn't matter unless you're attempting specifically to influence the law. So, so if we were talking about doxing and we were taking this moral stance, and this moral stance's point was to push a movement to change the law in respect to what we define doxing is, then that is then that moral view would be much more valid, or actually valid, compared to a bunch of autistic kids whining on 4chan.
Point taken.
So that I meant to say that, and that's entirely my fault. But yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I told you disagree. It was that I disagreed with the way you worded it more so than I wanted you to kind of drill down a little bit more and kind of fine tune it, because it was just kind of vague and broad, and I was like, don't do that.
Well, we live in the States, so like it would be foolish for me to say that public opinion does not influence law. That would be retarded.
Oh yeah.
So, and I'm not on 4chan for a reason. So,
why would anyone want to be on 4chan?
Masochists and retards. That's
Sparky, why are you on 4chan?
I'm not on 4chan.
Well, retard, not so much masochist, but
Wait, guys.
You can't leave the door open.
But what's 4chan?
Sparky's Tard Corner.
No, 4chan's a great place, Kidon. What you do is you go on there, you just put a few pictures of yourself on there, and just wait for a little while, and everything will be okay.
It's a good Christian forum.
Wait.
Don't
pictures,
do that.
What part of me?
Any parts you want. Don't worry, it'll quickly be attached to something else.
Oh.
You will become a meme within seconds.
It's
Just
where
have
the
your own
memes
flag.
are born. It's
Just
why
by
we know the
thinking
left can't meme.
Just by thinking about going to 4chan, you have in fact become a meme on 4chan.
Well, getting back on topic, I'm gonna address, or I won't. Okay, that works too. The fuck.
So let's go ahead and go on some Toms, since I don't know if Ace is back yet or not. Mode of silence, I'm going to say no. So I've got two definitions. The first one is dox, and it's pretty specific in how it's wrote out. Search for and publish private or identify information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. As a example, hackers and online vigilantes routinely dox both public and private figures. That's the textbook definition of dox. Now, there is a definition on doxing, but what's basically boiled down to how everyone else, or how, Wikipedia defines it as doxing, from dox abbreviation, is the internet-based practice of researching and broadcasting private or identifiable information, especially personally identifiable information about an individual or organization. The methods employed to acquire this information includes searching publicly available databases and social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, etc. Hacking and social engineering is closely related to the internet vigilantism or hackerism. Doxing may be carried out by various reasons, including to aid law enforcement, business analysis, risk analysis, extortion, inflicting harm, harassment, online shaming, or vigilante justice.
So go over that last sentence again, leading up to vigilante justice, because I think I misheard you.
Okay. Doxing may be carried out for various reasons, including to aid law enforcement, business analysis, risk analysis, extortion, coercing, inflicting harm, harassment, online shaming, and vigilating justice.
So they're talking basically what everyone else was talking about is to share DMs, and that would be vigilante justice. This person irked me, therefore I'm going to show everyone what this person's about.
Well, to a point, because they also put in broadcasting private or identifiable information. So it depends on how you look at DM.
A DM is a to me, a DM is a private conversation between two people. Now, unless there are viable threats being made, say in a DM, which you should just simply report. I see no reason why anybody should be sharing DMs unless, again, there's like some form of pertinent information in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And especially if there's private information that is yet to be shared. Again, this is my personal opinion, but say I'm talking with Zell, and all of a sudden I decide to screen cap it and he uses my real name, or I used my real name, he used my real name, one of the two, and we screen cap it, and then all of a sudden one of us shares it to somebody else in some way, shape, or form without blocking out the fact that Zell's real name is Peepo. I mean, what? No, I dox Zell. No, Peepo, I'm sorry.
Yes and no. Because they do some wordsmithing in this. Because they don't say conversations. They said researching or broadcasting private or identifiable information. So if you go by that terms and basis, a DM would not be considered doxing unless it had some sort of identifiable information to that person.
Also, there's another problem there, Sparky. You and Kadunk both used the word people, and Zell is not a person. So,
damn, that's accurate though.
Zell is a clone. Well, he's also a clone, and I think we're still kind of having that discussion on whether or not clones count as human.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
So I think they're legally they're not protected with the same status. So you can dox Peepo all you want because he's not a human. Who cares?
Yeah. Now here goes back to my original point: is if you are on a platform that you've already accepted the terms, they're going to keep a copy of what is being said, and you are there entrusting another person to keep it confidential. And therein lies the problem, is that you're entrusting the other person. Now that makes him an asshole.
Oh, to be sure.
By all means. But it does not constitute anything illegal, or at least what should be immoral it makes him a dick. It makes, but as far as morality or something where another person needs to step in, or the law needs to step in, because I with all due respect to the actual definition, I do make a distinction where the law needs to step in, and we need a gun backing it up. And what is just you being an asshole? I don't want somebody shooting somebody else because they cut me off in traffic.
Well, the other problem is that if you're going to go with the legal definition and whatnot, and you're going to hold to that, well, what jurisdiction's legal definition do you follow? In the EU, doxing of any form, whether, for the most part, doesn't matter if your intent was malicious or not, is illegal. You're not supposed to do it. Whereas in the United States, you can pretty much get away with anything when it comes to doxing.
I can actually I can answer that question with a different thing. So let's say, for instance, with pedophilia, I think if pedos want to be pedos, it's perfectly fine if they go to Iran and marry all the children they want, or whatever Middle Eastern country does it. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Nuke them. But the point I'm making is, if you were standing by the legal view, then I'd say you would stand by whichever most pertains to you. So, specifically.
Well, I still think you're coming back to, maybe I'm a little bit off topic when it comes to legalities. I would prefer this never to even be in the law. I mean, if you made the decision, you made the conscious decision, and you were of sound mind and sound body to put information about yourself either to somebody or online, and you've entered that realm, then that is misused. If somebody is going to come at you personally, and then they are going to try to harm you, then that should be involving the police, because that is bodily harm. But if all it is you getting a bunch of nasty emails, I don't want the law to, because that is something we accept.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's kind of, but I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, the thing is at a certain point, this can get to a degree where you're violating the First Amendment in the U.S. This is a really, really sketchy area.
Well,
the
thing is, guys, is legally we're talking about the difference between the First Amendment and harassment. Now, the First Amendment gives you the right to freedom of speech to say anything you want to. That is true. So you can release somebody's docs. You can dox somebody and release their information without breaking any legal laws, because you just simply released information. Now, if somebody takes that information and does something hostile with it, if it's a felony and you're in certain states, you can be linked up to that felony because you can be seen as causing that action. But if you just simply release that stuff, or if you have a call to action, in other words, you say, here's this person's address, go punch them in the face. That's a terroristic threat. That's a terroristic action. You can be tied to the felony or the assault. But that's the difference of what you guys are saying, is that in the EU, they don't have a First Amendment. And that's why that rule exists. That's why they have the hate speech laws that are all fucked up over there, is because no matter what our legislature does, it always gets pulled back by the Constitution, by that First Amendment, saying, no, you can't. Because this is why I keep telling people that the Constitution isn't so much what tells us what rights we have as it tells where the government to fuck off from its citizens.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there, and then I'm probably gonna get going in a bit. But you guys are just arguing the legal semantics about, well, not arguing. You guys are just discussing and pointing out the legal semantics of whether or not doxing is moral or immoral in any way, shape, or form. How about it's the
morality of it?
If somebody trusts you and shares private information with you, are you really that big of a piece of shit and a douchebag that you're going to be like, okay, well, fuck you, Peepo. You ate the last pizza, so I'm going to fucking tell everybody that your name is Peepo. Like,
everybody take notes. So it triggers Kadam.
Well, okay. My immediate reply to that.
Trigger me. Do you want to know why it triggers me? Because it's a fucking breach of trust. And it doesn't matter how pissed off I ever get, and I get really pissed off with Zell sometimes, but I would not breach his trust in that way, no matter what. Just like with Brockus, even with Brockus, and we all know that Brockus and I are not friends right now. We are not on good terms. But I'm not going to go and tell everybody, well, here's his address, this is his phone number, this here's where he works, here's his background, like here, let me just give you all of this shit about him. No, because he's not shared that kind of shit. Mind you, I did, and I fucked up in my own state of upset and pissed off and ragey and irrational. I fucked up, and I did share private stories. Not private, because I have friends and witnesses and shit like that. But I did share that kind of shit, and I shouldn't have, but I did. I fucked up. It's not quite a dox, but it's still something private, so I count that to me. I count that as me having fucked up.
Kadun, sweetheart. I was talking about the last piece of pizza.
You motherfucker! Why do you think Brockus pissed me off so much? He ate my last piece of pizza.
I was like,
she doesn't have a bad point. So I do have a disagreement with it.
Okay.
And the reason why is you said it several times yourself, especially at the end, is that you chose it. You made the mistake. I'm not discounting the other person's mistake. The other person has shown that they are a bad friend, a bad confidant to you. They have obviously shown this, but it is still our responsibility for the people whom we trust. And it's one of the reasons that I trust so slowly. And it takes me years to fully trust somebody, actually, to even let them in my head.
Which head?
Well, I have at least 3, but I mean, it's the big one. I mean, the medium size.
But
shit.
Yes, I was getting some head.
This got me. Not discount our own personal responsibility when it comes to this, and that's the thing, is we can't discount that. We need to step back and say, I fucked up.
Yes.
And I have chosen bad friends before, and if they are so volatile, then you need to learn from that and move on and never talk to that person again. And you can be as angry at him as you like, but I think, again, we're also talking about legal definitions. Are you saying, maybe I should ask this question, are you saying that what he did should be deemed illegal and he should go to jail and be fined?
I'm not even certain where that came from, honestly.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I just wanted to pose a different question, because we're talking about the legal definition.
No, but who did what illegal? No, well, listen, what Brockus did was fucked up in its own way. He never doxed me. I did share some private stories, and that, well, not private, but I did share certain stories. And to me, I fucked up in that respect. But again, I never doxed him. Since we're discussing doxing, yes, we both fucked up. But there is still that semblance of trust that was built. And no matter how pissed off he and I are at each other, we have not doxed each other.
I just want to get a quick clarification from Sparky in as few words as possible, Sparktopus. Are we discussing the legal side of quote-unquote doxing? Are we discussing the social and moral ramifications of doxing? Because those are two very different conversations.
We are going to be discussing both.
Yeah, well, what are we discussing right now?
Well, I guess the talk went from just the general to the legal aspects.
Because the legal aspects are frankly boring and uninteresting, because they're set in stone. They're already law.
Yes and no. That also varies by state to state.
Yeah,
True.
Hang on.
Oh,
Time out.
Yes, I am.
Ace, introduce yourself, and then get on with your point.
Ace Ventura, the pet detective.
I fucking introduced myself already. I said I fucking do some shit on the can't stream.
Yeah, he didn't tell
occasionally.
us what his doxing definition is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is where I look at if there is something that's already out there on the public domain, like there was something that came up with a certain individual and Sally Cohn. And they put Sally Cohn's information out there. Well, it was already public fucking knowledge. It was already on the public fucking domain. So that's not doxing to me. That's fucking common knowledge. If you really wanted to, you could find that fucking information. But like to me, what it is like, okay, I've shown my face on stream. I've said what my first name is. I don't care in that aspect. I'm completely okay with it. Freaking, if somebody were to go through and try to find what my face is to my last name, exactly where I live, like, they obviously have the malicious intent and they're going through that fucking process where they're going out of their way to look it up. Like, to me, that's fucking doxing. And then the whole threatening aspect of it, I would laugh it off. Like, please, bitch, come to my fucking house. I will easily fucking go hands-on with you. Like,
Don't
let's
tread
fucking,
on me.
yeah. Don't fucking promise me with a good time here. Like, like you have no idea. Like, and that's one of the things about me. Like, I'm very reserved. Like, I try not to. Like, I'll talk some shit to the people that I fucking know, and we all mean it as in like good terms, good fun.
Oh, you
like,
fucking won't, Ace. You won't fucking talk shit to anybody.
Ace,
No.
you're a spade.
Oh, I'm not even a spade. I'm a motherfucking diamond because I get in that goddamn pussy. Anyways, moving on.
Damn. Well, real quick, I'm gonna get going. I already laid out to you guys my moral standpoint on it. The legal aspects don't interest me. So there we go. Thanks for having me on. If you're still streaming in a bit, which you probably will be for the next 4 hours, I'll pop back in.
No. Tyro has already got that spot. I'm letting him keep it. This has got to be kept to around 2 hours.
Okay. Well,
Right.
maybe I'll see you guys later.
Love you,
Plan
good
survives first contact.
Get the fuck out.
Well, and so going back to what I was kind of saying is the whole, like, if you're going out there, going out of your way to be that fucking asshole to try to fucking do it, like, because to me, I don't give a fuck. Like, go ahead, try to fucking throw my personal information out there. And that's one of the reasons why I show my fucking face on camera. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm slightly fucking taking the power away from the whole people who want to try to dox and do shit like that. Like, yeah, bitch, this is my face. This is my fucking name. Like, what the fuck do you want to do about it? You want to sit there and talk shit? That's cute. Fucking come out here. Let's fucking have a conversation. Like, but it bleeds into the whole online fucking, like, e-celebrity, like, oh, look at me. Like, I could get your information. I'm so powerful and fucking cool. Bitch, nobody gives a fuck about you. In a week, if you fucking disappear, nobody would give a fuck about you.
Well, there is something that is interesting that was brought to my attention, and I think sometimes a form of doxing, beyond being just an asshole, but when you are doxed, when you do have somebody where you have gotten a certain level of celebrity and people are starting to get interested in you, you will be doxed. Somebody will take an interest in you when you reach a certain level, and it can sometimes be a purity test to see if you can handle the spotlight. We've seen this happen several times. I mean, to throw a name, Milo Yiannopoulos, his entire background, before anybody knew what he was, his entire background, up to and including his own, I mean, what was it, some out-of-the-way interview he did before he was even famous was found out, and that's what got him in trouble.
The drunken peasants.
Yes. And and I think that happens a lot. That you see a form of doxing because people start getting interested in who you are really. I mean, many of us play characters, and we act out of the norm of what we would do.
I never play characters,
but they do want to know who we are, and then all of a sudden they're doxing us.
Well, I much prefer a military style of purity test if we're going to talk about purity test in that particular vein. I know Ace knows what I'm talking about, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm sure some of you probably get it. I've been on streams with Pinoid before, and I get along real easy with Pinoid. Pinoid spent the first couple of streams basically doing his best to get a rise out of me, and I spent the first couple of streams doing my best to tell Pinoid to fuck off with a smile on my face. And there's a level of respect involved when two people can, basically verbally beat the shit out of each other and come away smiling and laughing and having a good time. If you've been in any of the branches of service, at least here in the U.S., that's a constant thing. It's the whole concept is if we're making fun of you, it's because we like you. I mean, if you want to talk about whether or not somebody can hang with what's going on, if they're good enough to be with the group, quote unquote, I mean, that's a way easier thing to do than doxing. And if somebody runs away whining and bitching because they couldn't handle a little ribbon, then they shouldn't be fucking around you anyway.
I think the scope is quite larger.
Yeah,
when you're talking about a certain level of celebrity, not everybody's going to get to razz you. You're not going to be able to retort to every single. I mean, personally, I was in the military, and of course, as soon as somebody showed up for the first 6 months, we just razzed the shit out of them. We just and the NCOs would just smoke the dog shit out of them.
Only 6 months.
Those are rookie numbers.
When you're doing it 24/7 every 6 months.
Look, man. All I know is that you were the FNG until there was another FNG.
Yes, and I was the FNG for a year. But what I'm saying is this is at a larger scope. You're not talking about 20 people in a platoon or 30 people in a platoon or 100 people in a unit.
I think you're
talking about thousands.
I wasn't talking about as a comparison. Oh God, I'm talking about as a system I much prefer. It's what I said right off the bat.
Oh yes, no, that you.
Here's my thing. When it comes to doxing, my information's already out there. I really don't give a shit if you know who I am, and a lot of my information is already out there. It's been made public. The name is wrong, but there you go. Now, if you're going to take that and start going after my family, that's when I draw a fucking line. And I had this happening for a bit. They were trying to dig into my family, and it's kind of like it's a very visceral and emotional reaction. All of us, I think if somebody was like, yeah, this is who this guy is, this is where he lives, all of us would be like, okay, good job, good job. You did a little work. But the minute you started putting out like family information and stuff, I think each and every one of us would be like, so, who wants to help me hide a body?
Yes.
Oh no, it's more like,
well, everybody else has a soundboard. Cool.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Like, I think what frickin' Antihero was trying to get at is the doxing versus threats, because that's been a thing lately of like the doxing versus threats. Like, oh, you're threatening somebody online? Well, here's the thing. Like, I brought it up to you guys before the fucking stream. Like, there's, like Tom P. We already fucking named him. I don't know if you guys have brought up Scooby. Like, Scooby's another guy that, just like Tom P., I could fucking go back and forth, and me and him could talk mad shit to each other. Same thing with the Antihero. We could fucking sit there talk shit. Anubis, me and him could talk shit for fucking 2 hours.
And nobody's going to get pissy about it.
Yep. And like, it's not a matter of like, oh, well, you said this about my mama. Yeah, I said that about your mama, and you said this about my mama, and like, we were just in there talking shit. And
I wouldn't talk bad about any of his mama. All right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go that far. There are limits, man.
I want to actually touch on a point that was said earlier, and I never got around to it. This is something Cadunt brought up, which and Antihero about the legal aspects. Now, the reason I think it keeps getting brought up over and over again, as boring as it may or may not be, is because in a society like literally the closest you're going to get to objectifying a moral view is making it law. And the thing is, people tend to pretend or go about their life assuming that their moral views are somehow law. And the thing is whenever we start defining this doxing thing around what our moral views are, a lot of people here keep bumping into things that are already illegal. And this is why the legal aspect keeps getting brought up.
I think it's
because
it's different than that, though. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't disagree in principle in the least, but I think it goes a little more based than that. Nobody here is over the age of what, like 35, 40, right? So we're all the same.
I'm a million.
Plead the fifth.
So we're all in the same rough generational category. Has anyone noticed, and I could be incorrect, but has anyone noticed the vast profusion of individuals who are in the same general areas as us who are just complete fucking pussies?
Mm-hmm.
And I bring this up for a very important reason. So we saw the other day how some people got extremely butthurt over Scooby being Scooby. That's really what it boiled down to. They got very upset. They became very angsty. They started claiming panic attacks and fearing for their lives because of somebody who, if they had done their research, they would realize that is just who he is. Doesn't mean he's great. Doesn't mean it's great. Doesn't mean it's a fantastic thing to do, but that's him. And that is consistently how people react now to anything that is confrontational. They immediately run for something that can give them some solace, which in this case happens to be legal action. The number of lawsuits has gone dramatically up in the past couple of years. Why? Because nobody is able to fend for them fucking selves anymore.
Well, I mean, I get that. I really do. But I'm just saying, like, there's a difference. There is a difference between lawsuits and, like, criminal actions.
You're right. But my point remains, though. So, like, even when it comes down to stuff like doxing and shit like that, you don't dox someone because you are stronger than they are and you can handle your shit. You dox someone because, for whatever reason, you can't go face to face them.
And it's also a victimhood status because the reality of it is, like, let's say it like this. Let's say fucking anti-hero. I fucking sit there and go, I would fucking slit your throat and fuck the wound. Can you actually pull...
Disavow.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Can you pull any fucking legal action on me?
No.
Technically, no. Because that's hearsay at that point. Yes, I said something, but did I do any physical action to harm you? It's the same thing with fucking hate speech.
You made a strange masturbatory gesture when you said it. I'm a little nervous about that now.
Wait, hold on.
He made sexual advances towards you.
He made a sexual.
Is that better for you?
He said,
yeah.
He said, let's get it on. And he had a look in his eyes.
Keep going on. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Ace, slower, big guy. Slower.
Oh, slow.
Don't give yourself friction burns, man.
Like,
Jesus
no.
Christ.
Like, if I'm going to hit it, I'm going to fucking hit it.
He wants the friction burns, man.
I want to make it last.
But I understand what you're saying is that it's legal limits are what quantify morals in our society.
Yes.
So people bump into that. But I think it goes a step further than that, in that our current generation's thought process on what is moral, and not even what is moral, on what is acceptable, is based on the fact that we are so wrapped up in our goddamn feelings and our skin is so effing thin.
Yeah,
So
I've been listening to a doctorate online, not Jordan Peterson, but I can't think of the name. I'll look it up in a second. And he had an interesting, and when you say thin skin, he had an interesting take on this. And his take was this. We're all, as you pointed out, basically 80s babies. Maybe 80s, early 90s. In the 70s and early 80s, we had a huge spike in crime. And up to this participated, we also had the advent of 24-hour entertainment news. What this did is it prompted several states to start doing, even my own state, which just repealed it recently, you were not allowed to have your children go out and play unless they were supervised. And this had a large and lasting effect. The large and lasting effect is as such. That meant that anytime you were interacting with children your own age, which is very important to do, because it is socializing you, it is learning your own cultural norms, it is forcing you to learn about the other person. If I go over to Hentai and I punch him and he punches me back, I need to realize that that action has consequences. Now, you don't learn that. Now, when you have a disagreement with somebody, instead of going over there and punching him and learning that lesson, you go to mom, and mom settles it for you. Right? And this is how we grew up.
If you were a bitch, mom settled it for you.
Well, this is the law in many states. This was the law. This was the law here. I mean, how many times have we seen articles about parents going to jail because their kids are around the corner?
Look, I grew up in a real different thing, I guess, because I grew up on military bases, and if you had a problem in the neighborhood, you took him out back and you'd beat him half to death with a stick.
Yeah, that's when you learned. That's when you first learned about the tree line.
But that's how I grew up. But we're getting past the point. We're talking about generalizations, not about individuals. Yes, we in the military as individuals, you're not going to make it through basic training without some sort of strong mind, and you're definitely not going to make it to the end of your first enlistment or commission without a very strong mind. That is just the way that it is. We're talking about the generalizations and the general population. The general population did spend the majority of their childhood indoors and with with somebody to go to. And so we are starting to see now, especially in universities, especially out in public, people going more and more to authorities. I mean, I have a recording that I find hilarious on my computer of a woman calling the police because she didn't know how to make meatballs. It's funny, but this is part of a larger problem. Anytime we have an issue, we want to go to a higher authority.
Okay, so Gem Max, if I'm hearing you correctly, your argument is that you shouldn't dox people because somebody's mom's going to call you.
I'm saying the reason why we have such thin skins and we find doxing as horrible as we do, and we have people that act the way they are, is because of the spike in basically us not being socialized properly.
Well, here's the thing. For me, it definitely comes down to intent. Like, if I were to say I doxed Ace. Okay, all of us would be like, well, it's kind of a shitty thing to do, but whatever, because there's this assumption that I'm not going to do anything with it. I just, maybe I did it because I had a brain fart or whatever, but I'm not going to go and actually hunt him down and do something to him. Whereas if a member of Antifa were to dox him,
they're my heroes.
You'd kind of look at history and go, they have a history of being violent. Stuff like that, and it kind of comes down to that mindset.
Spectre, please send Antifa to my fucking house, please.
I mean,
yeah.
Hey,
with the violence there,
Ace,
oh my fucking god, yes.
Disavow.
Ace, if Antifa comes to your house, can I have a sleepover?
Yeah, fucking invite.
And if Antifa comes to your house, can
I will say, fucking anti-hero, fucking Spectre, even if you fucking send them, you're fucking invited, fucking everybody's invited. We're gonna have a party. Yeah, and it's gonna be fucking violence is the answer there.
But in all seriousness,
Copperhead Road, motherfuckers. Copperhead
It comes down to the intent, though, in that, it really depends on who the person is, what they've done in their history. And we all also have a double standard. At least I believe this. Most of us would say doxing is kind of a shitty thing to do, no matter what, no matter the legality of it or whatnot. It's like, it's a shitty thing to do. But with me, at least that's how I am. I won't speak for anybody else. That's how I am. At the same time, though, when you deal with someone like Ross, who claims that he is a pedophile, and that he is working actively right now with children, you know what? I'm okay with doxing that person because he's a threat to other people. He's a threat to children. We kind of do this.
But that jumps into vigilantism.
No,
right?
No,
absolutely.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you got to look at it from this perspective. What you're talking about is somebody that you don't like because they said something different of your opinion online versus somebody that like pedophile or somebody who's doing fucked up things with kids, and you want the authorities to be aware of it. You want people to be aware of it. Like that's a different kind of.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something controversial here, so bear with me. And I'm being serious. I'm not being a dick at all. I'm going to say something controversial here. So, just to clarify before I go into this, you're saying that if someone, for instance, is a pedophile and they are working with children, you think that it's perfectly acceptable to dox them?
Yes.
Okay. I would disagree with you.
Why?
I would say that if there is a pedophile working with children, you should notify your local police.
Yes. And
here's the thing. Here's the thing. And the reason I say this is because of this. And here's the controversial part. So you do that because you believe in your heart of hearts the pedophile is a danger to those around him. I don't disagree with that. But that is what you believe, and that's why you're okaying this. There are lots of people in the U.S. who believe that U.S. Army veterans are a danger to those around them.
Right.
And so what you're telling me is that based on your logic, it is perfectly acceptable for those people to go and dox vets. And then you have a slippery slope of now it's okay for you to dox government workers.
No, you're blurring lines here.
I don't think I'm blurring them at all because his concept is that it is perfectly okay for him to take a measure of justice into his own hands because he feels those particular people are a threat. Now, obviously the difference is that in any sane world, they are a threat.
No, the line that you're misconstruing here is, did you say that you would fuck a kid or that you would do anything with a fucking
I
dog?
haven't. But the point I'm making is that his logic still applies if somebody wants to use it for their own points of view. That's why I'm saying no. Go and talk to your local police force.
Now, I'm out. Let me interject and add this in here.
You did not play the fucking soundboard. You have no fucking.
There is no power here, Sparky.
You have like a chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap.
Now look what you did. You turned the frogs gay.
Okay, what's up, Sparky?
All right, they include aiding law enforcement in the term doxing. So technically, if you was to dox someone, that could be considered going to your local law enforcement and giving it to them.
I think that's ridiculous, though.
Well, I agree with you. Hold on, everybody. He was talking. He didn't specify reporting the dox to the police. He made it sound like posting it on Twitter, which classifies as vigilantism, which technically is illegal. I might add.
So, well, I guess I'll go into this because we kind of said that we were going to talk about this. My recent history with the whole doxing issue.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because I was going to wait till all this was done, but go ahead.
Well, here's the thing is I've been accused of doxing a guy. Now, there's some validity to it in that I threatened to release his dox. Now, here's what ended up happening as a little bit of backstory. I ended up cutting ties with this guy, with this individual, and that's a Reaper Queen, and I want none of that. No, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. So anyways, I cut ties with this guy. I wanted nothing to do with him anymore. And I was told, having known his history, I was told by two different people that he was looking for my dox because he was not happy that I had left. Now, I ignored it at first. A week later, he ends up throwing one of his friends under the bus, and he throws her under the bus because he thinks that she gave out a Google Hangouts link to someone he didn't like, and he ended up popping onto the stream. So when I saw him throw one of his best friends under the bus, and he's not exactly a sane person, I guess you could say, I took it a little more seriously. Now, this guy had given me his a copy of his CAC card, his government ID. I used that. I got in touch with a friend who works in the National Guard. He used Army Knowledge Online to put together everything on this guy that he could. And I made it very clear, if this guy doxed me, I was going to drop his dox. Now, that's the extent of it. Even with that caveat, people still say I threatened to, I'm a shitbag. And you know what? I can't say that they're completely wrong about that. I definitely acted less than I should have. But here's the thing: is I ended up taking the information, didn't make anything public. The only thing I made public was a picture from that CAC card because he was saying that releasing pictures was not doxing, and thus releasing my picture, even though my ugly mug is out there on my videos, that's not doxing me. So I did the exact same thing to him, and that contributed to I doxed him. I didn't, however, take this information and make it public. What I did was I sent everything to his adjutant general because this guy claimed he was a what's it called? A specialist in the National Guard, and he was running a white supremacist podcast, which, as you guys know, you're not supposed to fucking do that. So because I gave that information to his authorities, to his, commanding officers, I am viewed as a doxer for that. Does that kind of make sense?
Military, that's a whole different subject.
And I've tried to make that case before, but it's, because he's friends with, I'm going to throw a couple of names out, Tonka Saw and Vamp Candy, and they're saying I'm a doxer. All of a sudden, all these people that they hang out with are saying I'm a doxer because I went after this guy. Now, here's the other part that comes out. It came out that this guy did not use his actual CAC card when he provided me information. So I ended up, and I've posted this on Twitter, a JAG officer.
Can you forgive my ignorance real quick? I don't know what that is. The card.
Well, it's not for Kakistan. That's for damn.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's the Common Access Card. It is the ID that pretty much everybody in the Department of Defense and Department of Justice is given.
Your CAC is exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, yes. Thank you. I just didn't. I didn't know what that was.
Right. So
never lose your CAC.
Right. So it comes out that this guy is, for all intents and purposes, stolen valor. According to the JAG officer, they called this guy in. The guy comes in. It's not the guy that the picture is of, and when he speaks, it's not him. So did I dox at that point? Apparently, the information wasn't even right. More to the point, the guy's giving out information and engaging in stolen valor in order to further his YouTube career, quote unquote, with Mike Enoch. Did I dox? Well, some people would say yes, some people would say no. And I kind of waffle in it in that it was shitty of me to make the threat, absolutely. And I am making the threat, even I've said it's a shitty thing and I apologize for it. I've apologized to him for doing it. But I won't apologize for sending that stuff to his commanding officer because he's in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. He's in violation of his oath of enlistment. He's in violation of a number of things, assuming he's in there, and apparently he's not.
Well, so when it comes to UCMJ, and all those things when it comes to a CAC card, it bleeds into different things about terroristic fucking threats. And where if you're showing something like a CAC card, it's where somebody could copy exactly what a CAC card looks like. Yes. And they could use it to get onto a military base. Honestly, I've been open about this. I live on a military base right now. I fucking live, my house is behind me, my garage is behind me. I'm a Army veteran. My wife is in the military. I've been fucking open and honest about a lot of the shit. But, I'm not going to give out any of her information, exactly where we're at. If you really wanted to, you could put all those pieces together. But at the same time, if you dox somebody who is in the military currently, that is technically a felony.
Except for the address that's on your mailbox.
Hey,
actually, it's
no, my address is not behind me. It's actually over there. So
Ace, I'm just out of curiosity, what are your wife's next couple of truth movements, times, locations, dates?
Right. OPSEC, motherfucker.
But at the end of the day, even I'll say, you know, making the threat was an absolutely shitty thing to do, and I'm ashamed I did it. I allowed my emotions to kind of guide me to that point. It was a shitty thing to do. And I had a chance to release this person's information that I had. Now, I'm glad I didn't, because apparently, you know, it's not the right information. But you're talking about a guy who, you know, stolen valor has been changed. So, you know, just saying you're in the military and you weren't is no longer a crime. That, you know, the Supreme Court struck that down, unless you're trying to claim like some what's it called? Some benefits, like benefits. That's, or you're claiming like the Medal of Honor or Purple Heart or stuff like that for personal gain. That is the only way it becomes a violation of the law. Now, here's the problem for him. He committed identity theft by taking somebody else's CAC card and playing it off as his own. More to the point, by having that CAC card, he's in violation of Title 18, I think subsection 701, I can't remember, which is a felony. It's a federal felony. You know, we were just talking about, is it, you know, giving it to the authorities in order to prosecute? Is that doxing? Well, I gave it to the authorities. They're looking to possibly prosecute.
Now, you didn't share this publicly with anyone. Oh, that information.
I did not share that. No.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, and this is how I see the doxing thing. Doxing does not necessarily, and this is where I disagree with the intent argument, is because to me, doxing is doxing irrelevant of intent. You can accidentally dox. You can dox somebody to somebody else. It's just the idea of releasing dox. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter to whom. It doesn't matter if it's online or not. It's similar to whenever Hillary Clinton lost a whole bunch of shit. It didn't matter legally that she lost these classified documents, whether or not it was on purpose. It was the fact that she did. That's illegal. So it's kind of the same concept. So this is where I disagree with intent. And this is why I find the whole moral point to the concept of doxing I find it skewing of the entire discussion. I think everybody focuses on the negative end of it, and nobody really sees it as anything other than this negative connotation of intention.
I think that intent needs to be taken into account after the fact. I agree with you entirely that doxing is doxing regardless of good or bad, whether you meant to do it or whether you did it on purpose. However, when somebody gets called out for doxing and somebody gets basically put on social trial for dox, then their intent's taken in. So if Ace accidentally releases personal info for 4 or 5 people, and it literally is an accident, and we're able to viably prove that, then we should forgive Ace and we should be like, dude, get better OPSEC, you piece of shit.
Right. But it's like any one of my friends can tell me.
But if Sparky turns around and willfully doxes every single person in this stream because we didn't let him talk enough, and we can prove that he did it maliciously to try and fuck us up, then we should be allowed to go to Sparky's house and beat the fuck out of him.
Well, I mean, it's kind of
apparently it's illegal to dox me. I'm still in. What can I say?
Well, what Spectre said about basically, we'll say practically, whatever. I guess according to the definition Sparky read, doxing in personal information to the military in relevance to this person allegedly or whatever being in the military. I wasn't clear on whether or not he was, but whatever. The point is that I do still see that as doxing. However, it is doxing in a way that complies with your duty.
Right.
I mean, it all comes down to wordsmithing. And that's what it comes down to.
I hate to say it this way, because I really don't like when other people do this, so I'm going to be mildly hypocritical for a second here. I think when you have I think the big difference is between civilian and military. I think there's a lot more that goes into it when you start talking about to someone in the military version of the Justice Department to be like, okay, this guy's doing some shady shit. Like, you go and you find out, for instance, if you're in the intel community and you have to go look for some guys for a group of people's personal information because they could be terrorists, and then you then disseminate that information to everybody in your branch. Technically speaking, you've doxed them, but it gets into such a weirdly different area. I think we really need to limit what we're talking about for this particular discussion to civilian doxing, specifically doxing of personages online, in the media, even small media like we are, because technically we're in the media.
Right.
I think we need to limit it to civilian applications.
I understand. Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, and like that is one big difference. Like federal versus civilian in that aspect. Like, okay, and here's a good example. I brought up the whole Sally Cohn thing earlier. She already had her information out there as public fucking domain. Like anybody could look it up. But people got butthurt that somebody fucking put it out there that this is her fucking information. Well, it was already fucking public knowledge at least a year prior to that. So can you really get fucking butthurt? Like, if you Google that person's name and all their information is right there? No. It's not technically a dox because it's already public fucking information.
Well, it's like for me. Whenever I first made my first YouTube video, I did the most stupidest, dumbass fucking thing you could do. I put my first name in it. I introduced myself. And that video was up for a while. Until I finally is like, hey, there's a lot of bullshit going on. I'm going to delete this video. And it doesn't exist no more. Now, luckily, it only had 5 views on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sparky, you never have to worry about that. As then, as now, my friend, no one watches you.
But
at the same time, why do I hear the fucking clicking and clacking of the Wayback Machine fucking going off right now?
Well, but like, I don't know if Sparky remembers this or not, but there was one or two, but I think it was just one live stream I did with the Knights he was involved in, and in that stream I doxed myself basically by saying my first name. Now, if somebody were able to pull that up and find my name, given that I've said where my state is, they could very, very easily track me to my state with only my first name, because its spelling of it is that unique. So the point is and also the name itself. So the fact is that I'm trying to get.
It's Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Anu's real name is Trayvon.
Yeah, that's totally it. But though the thing is, but at the same time, given all that information, like, who do I have to blame other than partially myself? Like, right. I went and publicly said my name, accident or not. I put myself in a position where that was an inherent risk. And so, like, this is where, like, I have an issue with this whole discussion, because the moment somebody comes to me and they're like, I was doxxed, I'm going to look at them and say, yeah, well, fuck you, you whiny bitch. Get off the fucking internet if you can't handle it. Like, that's literally my first response in my head. Like if you can't handle the fight, don't willingly partake. The fact, and that's it in a nutshell. You know the danger. Do not enter if you can't.
Here's the thing too. As I was trying to explain is, I joke around that I'm the first person ever to have been called a doxer who didn't dox anyone. And the people who are specifically targeting me, they're people who they're far more popular on YouTube than I am. I'm placed in this position where every day, pretty much, I have to deal with the fact that I'm being called X, Y, and Z. Whether it's true or not is immaterial. And I'm constantly fighting an uphill battle. And this is the problem with claiming someone's a doxer and not actually having proof. Yeah, I've said provide proof that I've doxed them. What information have I given out? And they fall silent. Tonka, Vamp Candy, Queen of Bants, they all failed to do this. And they look at Queen of Bants and they say, well, you doxed her husband, except I didn't. all I did was release the DMs between us when she called me a liar, and she said I was making up everything. And it was specifically to show that, no, you did say this stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she harped on about is she claims that her husband was a Marine captain who was torn apart saving one of his guys when he charged a machine gun nest. Now,
What?
yeah, I'm dead fucking serious. This is what she said.
What?
So I called bullshit on this, and I was like, this is literally in the global war on terror. This would be Silver Star material, and we know the military likes to put out shit in like the Military Times or local papers in which they say this guy got a Silver Star for being a hard charge and badass. The only person I can find that meets this criteria was Sergeant Leandro Baptista.
Yep.
And as soon as I said that, she started losing her shit. Like he was her husband, but he was a sergeant. He wasn't a captain. So they claim I doxed her husband. What?
Is this where the misunderstanding that me and you had earlier, where I was like, could you clear this up, of the captain versus the E3?
No. That was because that was my DD214. That was the whole Mustang thing that I explained earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is something completely different. It's like I'm kind of going back to how Cadon was talking about releasing DMs. I'm okay with doing it if it's to, very specifically, if somebody comes out and says, you're a liar, that never happened, and the only way you can prove, that this actually happened, and it's very specific, if that person is the one claiming you're a liar, but that person is also the person who, is you're making the claim about, guess what? You should be able to release the DMs.
Sorry.
There's one thing, James. You remember the stream that you took inspiration from me to do?
Doxed.
Why would you take inspiration from
Doxed.
Sparky?
He just said his name. Doxed.
That's my real name. Yes.
Shame.
Oh God.
No, it's
Shame.
Which one are you talking about, Sparky? I take a lot of inspiration from you of what not to do. So
the spug on Cunt stream.
Oh yeah, when I fucking went off about Schmeckle, yeah,
about punching down and all that other good shit.
I'm glad you made that fucking video.
It pissed me off, dude.
Can I get a link to that?
Time out. With all that being said, and most people consider, releasing DMs a dox. Would that make Schmeckle a doxer?
Yes.
Well, and here's my thing about the DMs. If you're gonna talk to somebody through DMs, make fucking sure. First off, do you agree with the people that have say you got a personal responsibility to make sure who the fuck you're talking to and whatever the fuck you're saying? Don't make it personal.
Right.
Make it personal. Don't be like my wife said. Just don't leave that shit out of it. It doesn't need to come into the conversation. If they bring it up, use deflection. That's why it's a technique. That's why it has a word. So yeah, just deflect that shit.
My wife
the other person or just tell the other person, hey, I don't talk about personal real life shit with anybody. Okay, just nothing personal. I just don't. But the thing is that releasing DMs, okay, in my opinion, it's a bitch move. Okay, if you're making your argument that way and say this person did this with DMs and da da da, and I can prove it with DMs and da 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 DMs, dude. If it's not something pretty severe, don't use the fucking DMs. Don't use the DMs for a bitch argument. You don't do that. You fucking go in the ring, you take them on, you take your whooping, or you whoop them. It's the internet. No one's gonna fucking remember in a week anyway.
Well,
I think it's gonna know.
I can slightly agree with you. I can slightly agree with you, but I slightly disagree with you. And this is where I bring up the taking the power away from them.
And this is why I love Ace.
Where it's, fucking,
I brought up fence sitter.
I fucking have brought up my own fucking family. I brought up my wife. I've fucking shit. Not even 20 minutes ago, I was saying, yeah, my wife's in right now, but that's all you know about her. And that's all you guys need to fucking know. Like, and you don't even need to know that, but at the same time, like, I'm honest about it. And the same thing with my fucking kids. Like, I've said how many fucking kids I have on stream. Like
76.
No, I'm not fucking Tom P. Okay, let's be honest about this shit.
He's not a Mexican. That's not happening.
76 kids and 4 dogs.
But at the same time, like,
hopefully it's not all the same woman.
This is where I go, I'm taking the power away from you because, like, yes, I've said all this, but if you want to go deeper than that, it's like, oh, so you're that piece of shit who's trying to fucking go deeper and fucking say X, Y, and Z. Like, okay, I see your fucking MO. Like, really, that's the type of fucking person you are? Because I haven't looked into your life. I don't give a fuck about you, but you're so fucking invested in me. Go fuck yourself.
Well, you mind if I give the background on the whole DM thing? It'll take like 2 minutes.
Well, can I express an opinion on what you said earlier real quick, though, first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Vlad, then Spectre.
Guys, real quick, actually, and I'm sorry to interrupt. No, this is important. I have to leave very soon.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Ace, I swear to God, I will rip off your beard and use it as a prophylactic. You understand?
That does not sound pleasant for anyone involved.
That is a beautiful fucking
you, your boyfriend.
I hate you enough right now that I will cause myself pain to cause you pain. No, I have to leave in the next like 5 to 10 minutes. So if there's
pain is
else,
pleasure, my bitch. Don't you fucking sit there and tempt me.
You little shithead, can I fucking finish?
I wish you would finish. I've been waiting weeks.
I'm having fun with this listening.
Go, Sparky! Friggin' frog's gay!
Crap! So,
okay.
I'm asking because I do have to go soon. My girlfriend is already giving me the evil fucking eye over here. No, hey, she's good at it, so I don't mind.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's because you don't fucking finish. I'm like I said,
guys.
She hasn't complained about me not finishing yet.
Well, he finishes too quickly. That's the complaint.
Not over here, man. Maybe that's what you hear when you're at home. But the point I'm trying to make is if we have other questions that we want to hit up, then I'd like to get to them real quick, just so I can.
All right,
so I can be part of the conversation. Otherwise, I'll roll out.
Okay, you wanted to talk about, I guess, the morality aspect of it.
Well, I think we've actually already covered it. Once I had said that, we got back into it a little more.
Well, I got something Auntie can feed off of that's serious. That
what
Auntie
the hell happened to me? What happened to that pattern there?
Well, no, if he has to leave, I'm willing to give him.
I'm just being a bitch. Just move on.
Okay.
Anyway, no. But the thing is that I just like to say that I kind of disagree with Gadunt saying that. It's the legal part of what we're discussing. We're just discussing the legal parts of it. We're just going morally at it. And I'm like, dude, this is a community. This is what we do. This is good. This is helpful for it. This is healthy.
Very
because other people and some of the people in chat can have some of their ideas challenged and reform their thinking on it. We can reform our thinking on it. So when the topic of doxing comes up, there's not such huge clear lines anymore. People can actually understand each other across the divide now.
Yeah.
Well,
everything's not black and white. Everything is a shade of gray, is what it comes down to.
So for the whole thing that just happened with Scooby and everybody and all that stuff that went down there, and Scooby, if you're watching this, I don't think ill of you in the least. You're a great example, and you're recent. That's the only reason you've been coming up. Whatchamacallit, Scooby, like I said, that's kind of how Scoob runs. He's aggressive as all hell. And I really think a lot of that came down to he made some aggressive commentary that other people just could not handle. So if you want to talk about the moralities and the social conduct aspect of it, I think overall it comes down to 2 things. 1, don't take the fucking internet seriously. And 2, unfortunately, you got to watch what you say to who you say it to.
And who takes seriously a guy with an avatar of a fucked up Mickey Mouse?
So what you're saying is you agreed with my original point.
Possibly. I don't know what your original point was. It's been lost in all the drama.
Yes, and my original point was that we need to take the personal responsibility for who and what we say too.
So, like, I know
because they're going to.
I know for a fact I can talk to Ace about just about anything and bullshit with him 24/7. I don't have a problem. But I know that if I'm on my Twitter and I'm talking to Christy Winters, I need to be a hell of a lot more circumspect about what I say and a hell of a lot more flexible in my verbiage because she'll call me on it. Well, and so it's a difference that comes down to just who you're talking to and knowing what to say to who and knowing how to say it.
And the other big thing that you have to take away from this is looking at it from a fact of like, if me and Antihero, like maybe we were talking shit back and forth. Okay, that's fine.
Maybe.
But maybe he said something that rubbed me the wrong way. I wouldn't go off on a live stream about it. I would actually pull him off on a fucking off-air fucking hangout. Be like, hey, man, you know, this is what's going on. Like, this was my thought pattern. Like, you know, let's talk about it. Let's figure this shit out.
And that's
like,
a huge fucking thing.
Like, here's a great one. Politipod. If anybody paid attention to
Politipogue.
If anybody paid attention to the Cant stream the other night, he was on there and he brought up being a veteran multiple different times, and when it had nothing to do with anything that they were talking about.
Virtue signaling piece of shit.
Oh, and I loved it when you ate his shit, Ace. I loved it when you ate his shit on that stuff. I was like, thank you, Ace. Yes, thank you.
Well, and it pissed me off. I know it pissed Anti-Hero off. Obviously, it pissed
Like you would
Anubis
not
off.
believe.
So fucking, I took the time out to fucking jump on there. Like, I had no attention because I knew it was just a straight up fucking shit show, right? But I took the time out to fucking jump on there, make my fucking points, and fucking, you know, I let him fucking talk his little heart
And he
out.
lied like a dog.
And after that, you know what? At the end of it, what did he do? Right before he was going to hang up with that hangout, he fucking said, hey, Ace, are we good? And I went, you know, I don't know if we're good, but I would rather talk to you on an off-air hangout so we could hash this shit out, and then maybe we could be on the same page.
But that kills my entertainment.
Well, go to fucking Tonka if you want some blood sports, goddammit.
But I found that entertaining. You can't stop now.
Almost done.
Well, yeah, but no, I get Ace's point, and I totally fucking agree with him, is that it's kind of like the whole thing with Schmeckel when I blew up that one day on Half Cooked about Schmeckel pulling his shit. I was just, somebody asked me, I think it was right after that, I think it was Sparky, actually, in messaging in Discord, and he went like this, he was like, are you still mad at Schmeckel or something? And I was like, no, I left it all on the fucking field, man. If I blow up at you, I leave it there. I'm not going to take it off script and be like, oh, yeah. And if you say, are we good after we get done arguing? Yeah, we're good. I leave shit alone, dude. I move on. I'm busy.
Well,
I got shit to do.
Well, on the topic of herpetic pod, which actually runs in line.
Hermetic pod.
Which it runs directly in line with something similar to what Spectre said, given the stream I saw on Moonifest or whatever, Destiny, whatever the fuck it's called, something about moons and crickets. The point is that I was watching it, and this is the ultimate like opinion that I've come to, and that is that
everyone's gay.
Yeah, no, but no, I mean, like, so you got like in society, and more specifically, I guess in the U.S. because I can't speak for everywhere, but in the U.S. it is basically considered your societal duty to report a crime, irrelevant of your opinion or your moral view on what crime you should report. Irrelevant of all of that, that is classified as your duty to do it, especially if you're in the military, for instance, and you see crime within that. So the thing is, or at least I assume so anyway.
No, not in the E4.
No, I'm referring to something like stolen valor, for instance.
I can understand that. But I was talking like E4 Mafia when you're actually in, like, nope.
The Lance Corporal Underground, E4 Mafia, they exist.
But here's the thing, though, and this is my ultimate point. When you have somebody like the wife of that guy bitching like she did over you asking statement or asking questions and making statements and saying, hey, that doesn't sound right. Oh, people, and then they call that doxing. And this is back to the Polypod too. It seems to me like people who are that dead set on calling something doxing are only that way because they have something to hide.
Absolutely.
And that is ultimately what it seems like to me. Like, if you even watch Tyro's stream, like Politipod, or I can't even pronounce it, I don't even care. Like he went so fucking goddamn staunchly against fucking doxing and broadened the term out so fucking much that to me it seemed like that particular individual must be something like a pedophile or a terrorist or something, because I have never seen somebody so much in my life so afraid of having information leaked.
I actually think I understand what his deal was, and I don't agree with you based on I was watching him in both the original Cunt stream and on Tyro's thing, and he's probably got something to hide because everyone technically does.
Yes, they do.
But, to me, what he struck me as, and before I leave, what he struck me as was somebody who was trying so very hard to derail everything. If you look, every time they went back to something, he would immediately skew it into some way that made somebody
try to pivot to something else.
And Tyro's a good guy, but Tyro will obsessively track down every single detail. So for somebody like Politipod, who is totally willing to try and derail the conversation and throw up sham shields and not the cool kind, Tyro is a blessing from heaven, because Tyro will follow every avenue of thought, and Politipod just kept throwing up roadblocks every 10 seconds.
So Tyro is Tyro weaponized autism?
In a way, yes.
But my whole point though ultimately was that, like, to me, like, it's true that everybody has something to hide, but there is a difference between everybody having something to hide and they being so staunchly against something that you take the definition of a word and create a very arbitrary, vague definition, and then use that as a means, as a weapon against other people. That is like the point where, like, I like, especially whenever you're disregarding the fact that it is a societal duty for you to report things. Now, granted, if Spectre had publicly posted all this shit on Twitter, I would not be making the statement right now. But like, if he just, what he said, if he did, because I wasn't following it, but if all he did was report it to the superior officer, all he was doing was something in direct accordance with his societal duty, and to bitch him out and to call him out on that, like, in that way, call him a doxer and whatever, blah, 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 only implies to me that these people specifically not only have something to hide, but those things that have also questionable mentalities or motives. Yeah.
Well, they're also punching down pretty fucking hard.
I mean, punch down all you fucking want. I'm gonna punch right back up. Let's, you want to play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. Because when I make a claim, generally speaking, I have, access to.
You have some sort of evidence. Yeah.
Right. Now, like what I was going to say is, this whole thing about doxing Queen of Bants and her husband and everything, releasing the DMs. She had claimed that, well, I guess I'll say this much. Joaquim, the person that I was dealing with, who apparently has stolen valor and whatnot, he was apparently swatted by a guy named Zoom. Now, as a streamer, I have called my police and I have, said, hey, I'm a streamer. There have been swatting incidents. I just want to let you guys know, just in case, this is around that time the Air Force vet that streams, he got swatted. Now,
and it's getting on a white list. And like anybody who streams, like, that's a smart thing to fucking do.
Here's the thing is, Zoom had been trying to dox me as well, and he had gotten close enough that I was a little nervous about that. And when I heard that Joaquim had been swatted, my response is, oh, fucking shit. So I called the police. Now they put in my mouth, and they claimed this after I had stopped dealing with them. They claimed that I had said, Queen of Bants claimed that I had said that they were on their way to my house because somebody had called in a hostage situation. I never did. And when she called me a liar and said, no, you did say that, I released the DM in which she's the one saying, I don't know why you would hang out with someone, meaning, not Zoom, but I don't know why you would hang out with someone who swatted you and a fellow soldier. I don't know why you would do that. So I released that DM to show that I'm not the one who made that claim. Queen of Bants was. Now, Queen of Bands, Tonka, Vamp, they all came back and said, you made that up. So I did a literal full dump of my entire DMs with Queen of Bands, you know, so that there would be a start and an end on a picture. And then the start of the next picture would be the end of that previous one. So you could see I'm not adding or taking anything away. And in that was her claiming that her husband had been torn up by a machine gun nest while saving one of his Marines. And I called into question that, and that's when it started becoming, I doxed this guy who's apparently with JSOC, but he's also getting veterans, you know, disability pay because he was torn apart by the machine gun nest. I don't know. I don't understand it. Yeah, so this is where this entire thing comes into play. Is I'm okay with releasing DMs, generally speaking, in which you're showing that this person who's calling you a liar is in fact the one who's lying.
Time out. Hold up. I have questions. Fucking raise my
Time out.
Where was he at? Was he in Iraq? Was he in Afghanistan?
She never said.
What was the caliber of the round?
Yeah, machine gun nest. Like that's fucking kind of
World War II shit.
I'd also like to point out that both Afghanistan and Iraq, if they have machine guns, they're going to be old school and they're going to be bigger than 7.62 usually.
I was about to say,
which means you're not going to be okay after that.
And here's the other thing. Like, I'm not trying to fucking dox me and fucking Auntie, but me and Auntie we deployed at the same time. We were both in the same fucking area. We were actually on the same fucking base. And like, he brought up like, hey, remember when this fucking happened on the base? I was like, oh, fuck, dude, you were there? Like, so, like, we know the difference of, like, what happened in Iraq versus Afghanistan, like, the different TTPs that they were using. So, like, when you say machine gun nest, it's like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense.
If you said you got hit by an EFP, I'd be much more inclined to believe
those sand niggers. Those sand niggers aren't intelligent enough to create a fucking nest to begin with.
You would be shocked. Anyway, guys, I do have to go. My girlfriend has now begun putting on her shoes, which means we are leaving. You. Yes, I am pussy whipped, but her pussy is that fucking good, so I don't mind.
I highly doubt that.
I don't, and you're not going to find out. Anyway, so just before I head out of here, ladies and gentlemen, people who are watching the chat, people who might be watching this later, just remember, you don't want me as an enemy. I will fucking blind you. Doxing is awful. Intent does matter, but only after you've determined whether or not you're an awful fucking doxer. You know, if you're going to have a problem, settle it for real. Anu Vlad, I fucking sent you that DM. It was me the whole fucking time. I'm out, guys.
Shit, it was you? Oh, my God.
Have a good day, y'all. Peace.
Later.
Yep.
See what nobody knows is Ace of Skulls and Auntie are the same person. They're just fooling you all. That's the secret.
Oh my! But yeah, that's so like that's.
Damn it! Stop sharing my motherfucking docs, Anubis. What the fuck?
That's my take on releasing DMs, and it's kind of like my background as to where the claim that I dox people and all this shit is coming from. I mean,
well, see, that's the deal. And making false claims against someone is just as bad as doxing someone.
Well, you know what's really funny? This argument has started on Twitter with fucking Cody Crossman.
Oh, really?
Who gives a shit?
Cody Strawman Crossman.
Who the fuck is Cody? And why the fuck do I care?
Exactly.
Okay, here's the I've settled my shit with Cody. If you want to talk about it, I'm going to step back. I'll let you talk about it.
Oh, was Cody the little douchebag that was giving you shit, Sparky?
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, anyway, cool. but that it doesn't matter. But the point is, ultimately, I think it would be really cool to take a piss and drink beer at the same time, and it just flow out like a constant stream.
But you never get drunk at that point.
That's not true. It would just be slower, and more expensive.
That's not fun.
And but beyond that point, like I would like to record myself just doing that for hours. Just to look at myself doing it later.
What are you going to do? Upload it to fucking YouPorn?
No, I'm going to upload it to myself and just stare at it in awe.
It's gonna go on his. That's gonna be his Facebook profile picture.
Damn straight. Actually, what's really cool is I saw this fucking goddamn video the other day. This guy taking a piss, and he farted and coughed, but it was recorded in FLIR. And this all happened at the same fucking time, and it was the most beautiful fucking thing.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Like, fuck nice things, communism all the way. But no, I'm kidding. I promise. Don't spurg out. But anyway, the thing is,
this man, gas him.
Back on topic to the subject at hand. The thing is with doxing to me, I dox me. Like, in fact, you know what? Call me a Nazi and punch me, please. Just do it.
You fucking Nazi. You fucking Nazi. I want to punch you.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Look, this is where I grew up in the Midwest, all right? So, where I live, I can if I had a problem with somebody and we had a fight, as similar to what Spectre said earlier on, like at the end of it, I would just be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I lost, whatever. You want to go grab a beer? Like, it's not a big deal. It's not like, unless you're one of those soy boys that happen to be here too, that would whine and bitch over it. But the point is, at the end of the day, it's just a fight. There's nothing else. Like, it's not that big of a fucking deal. And so if I'm not going to view having a fight as a big deal, if I'm not going to view Spectre potentially beating the shit out of me as a big deal, then why the fuck should I view a goddamn tweet threat? And keep in mind, Twitter, okay, it refers to posts as tweets, and you take this seriously. Like, come the fuck on.
Man, I hope you fucking didn't grow up in Illinois.
I did not. Fuck that place.
Oh, thank you, Jeebus. Because fucking you said Midwest, and like I grew up in Illinois, and like that's immediately where my mind went to. I was like, that poor bastard. I hope he didn't have the same kind of fucking upbringing that I did.
All right, I'm gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna announce we have been invaded by moon crickets. Everyone,
the dox hopper.
Oh shit,
dox hopper. What? Seriously?
Well, I thought Tyro, since Tyro, the anal bead of logic, is here, he can correct me.
Oh god.
Let me just say something right quick because I do have to go.
Okay.
I thought it was only going to be 2 hours, but I do have a previous engagement. It was wonderful being on with you guys and everybody watching. I appreciate you all. I hope you guys have a great day.
You too,
Go
Jen.
away.
Enjoy your weekend.
It's gonna be a little bit longer than what I thought, but it's not gonna be 5 hours long.
Yeah, but Tyro, real quick, because I could have sworn I heard this, and you got a better memory than me. I could have sworn I heard on the cunt stream that what's her name, Leaf, I think.
Yes.
She responded with the question of if somebody threatens you on Twitter, then what are you supposed to do? I was like, hey, fucking ignore it.
It's not the cunt stream. It's the can't stream.
Oh, it's the cancer. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like I said, this whole conversation here brings up a good point. If DMs are gonna be reflected as a dox, then Schmeckle dox.
I would say, well, hold on. DMs, I would not regard. So there's like doxing, and then there's just that skeezy behavior. And I think we need to differentiate it. So like recording the private conversation, like what Cass did, is that doxing? No. Is it good behavior? Yeah, it's a little nervous. It's like, for example, like cognitive thought. He is very quick to release DMs publicly. He is well known for it, but as a result, people are very careful when they DM him because it's understood that if you DM him, he will turn around and release it publicly on you. Like there's no such thing as a private message to Cog.
It's one of those things.
But at the same time, hold on. But at the same time, that's also recognized there are people who are like, there's no such thing as a private message to Cog. Well, I'm just not going to message you. You know, that's not seen as a good thing necessarily. You know, is it doxing? No. But is it considered good behavior? Also. No.
Well, if you look at definition, I don't know if you're here watching when we looked at definition, it doesn't really state private conversations. It's the beginning of it is practice of researching and broadcasting private or identifiable information.
Right.
And then,
Identifiable information.
And then the end of it is doxing may be carried out by various reasons, including aiding law enforcement, business analysis, risk analysis, extortion, coercing, inflicting harm, harassment, online shaming, and vigilante justice.
Right. Also accidental. I mean, we all know we've all had accidental cases of doxing. We've seen those happen.
Yeah.
So, but I was under the understanding though on the can't stream that whole thing seemed to stem. The whole thing seemed to stem. I'm asking Tyro because Tyro's here now. I could only listen to a bit of his stream yesterday. Like I said, I was busy. And then the can't stream, everybody just screamed at each other. So I was like, all right, I'm missing the fucking point.
Yeah, the can't stream had nothing of value in it.
No, it didn't. But I mean, the thing was, I wasn't surprised. But the thing was, Tyro, is that it kind of seemed to all stem from the wheels got kicking up, not because of the doxing and not because of any of that shit, but because it sounded like Leaf overreacted to a threat that wasn't even made against her.
A woman overreacting? You just.
Hold on. Yeah, we actually established that in the stream yesterday. Towards the end, it was finally established that basically GCV was trolling Scooby, had been trolling Scooby, had been trolling all of Chaos 120 for a while, earned a lot of MDT there. He was trolling Scooby hard. Scooby overreacted to it by making the threat. Burnside also overreacted by making the threat. And then, so GCV went to Leaf and Politipod. Well, no, he did go Politipod directly. He went to Leaf, and then Leaf went to Politipod. He also apparently went to Maddie, I believe, and possibly Guardian. He went to some of his friends, GCV, and they in turn overreacted from it. Like, they looked at this and were like, oh my god, there's doxing, and so they then overreacted by spamming all the discords and so on, and putting it on the Twitter. They now acknowledge that they were in the wrong. Like, Pod has publicly said that he was wrong for putting this all over Discord, that they were wrong for putting it on Twitter, that they should have gone to Scooby in DMs first, that they went public too fast, that they pulled a Zell. They went too public too quickly. They should have kept it private for longer first, establish it, talk to Scooby, and if they had talked to Scooby and Burnside, none of this probably would have happened, and it would all been okay.
They should have just given him a Scooby snack.
That's and thank you, Tyra, for that, because that's what I thought everything boiled down to, and I was like, okay, I think I got it, but I'm not sure. So
it was
when you popped into the stream, I was like, perfect opportunity. I can ask Tyra what the fuck.
Yeah, it was two overreactions layered on each other. Scooby and Scooby has also apologized for overreacting to GCV. He admits that he took the bait from the troll and overreacted. Burnside likewise. They admit that, oh yeah, we got trolled, we fell for it. Whoops. GCV is a known troll. He does not. The GCV apparently is not reacting well to being called out for being a troll. Apparently, Tem and I are on his crap list for labeling him a troll, even though people know he is. It's like, sorry, like, just because you are friends with Ghastly doesn't mean I'm not going to call you a troll when you're clearly a troll.
Actually,
a little bit about that.
Cairo, I have a serious question about that, by the way. You said at one point in the wow, I just did a fucking puberty squeak. Jesus Christ. Anyway, but you said at some point in the stream, you said that, and this is kind of somewhat off topic, but you said that trolling invalidates your whether or not there's a different. I'm trying to word you exactly here.
No, it wasn't me who said it. I just paraphrased, but yeah, being a troll. If you have a status of a troll, if you are a known regular troll, if trolling is your shtick, is your online persona, is being a troll, trolling others, then yes, it undermines your credibility.
There we go. Yeah.
And I mean, this dates, and this is a code of the internet that dates back decades. Because I've been on the internet longer than GCV has been alive.
Technically, it's a unwritten code of the internet.
Well, yeah, I know that. Well, but if somebody makes a career off of being a troll, it's like 4chan. Don't take 4chan seriously because it's full of trolls.
Okay, so when you
say shut up, Ace.
So my question is with that, what do you mean
Don't
by
eat popcorn, Ace?
Whenever you say
I was bullshitting with somebody the other night going, honestly, fucking Tyro, he's Buzz Killington. Like he comes
We
in
went from 15 viewers down to 9 viewers now.
Jesus.
Oh, see, there you go.
Fucking Christ, Sparky, you killed the room.
They must have all jumped on the space shuttle Columbia, knowing that we're going for those moon crickets. Like they're like, no, we're going to go explode.
Sparky, that's because TrippyCast went live 10 minutes ago.
Oh fuck, that's right.
Oh, we're up against Trippy.
Okay, well, here's
we're losing.
Well, here's the reason I ask this about credibility. Is because whenever you say that, like, are you meaning in general, like encompasses anything they say?
Yeah, basically, because if you establish yourself as a troll on the internet, if that is your primary mode, then anything you say has to be taken with a grain of salt, even if it's serious, because you are literally establishing yourself as a boy who cries wolf and does so for giggles.
Well, what if they said that, like there's a plethora of things that they could say and be 100% dead serious. So you're saying that at that point they are completely shielded from blame if another individual takes them seriously.
Well, here's the thing. Like,
that doesn't make any sense. I'm saying if someone establishes themselves as a troll, then nothing they say can legitimately be treated as 100% serious.
Right. What I'm saying is, if a person is trolling all the time, and mind you, I'm drunk, so maybe I'm not making as much sense as I think I am. Okay. But if somebody says something like is just trolling all the time, they're established as a troll, and they have zero credibility, right? And then they say, "Hey, I'm a pedophile," and then somebody along the route takes that seriously. Does that mean that the person who took that seriously, that did not take that with a grain of salt, is to blame?
Partially, yes. Now, it does go back to the troll on that. Is like, how did the troll say it? Did the troll make it clear they were joking? Was it in the context of a joke? How was that information presented? Like Zoom, for example, Zoom is a good example here. Zoom claims
fuck Zoom.
Wait, hold on, because Zoom has that video where he's talking about being a pedophile and looking at child porn. He claims that was a joke. He claims that was all a stunt. He claims that that's his way of trolling.
That was his way of backpedaling.
Yeah, I know. I'm just hold on.
That's
time out. Let
me finish.
God bother.
Yeah, I know. I'm just using that as an example here. Okay, Zoom's established as a troll. That was him. Put context. Now, I kind of think that wasn't the case. Like, I'm inclined to think Zoom's a pedophile on that one because, whoa, boy, that was creepy. Like that did not strike me as an act. Like if that was an act, he deserves an Oscar. But so in that sense. But that's an example playing to your case. There is like Zoom's established as a troll.
Okay.
He says he's a pedophile and a joke. Then he says, no, that was a joke and trolling. Well, okay. I mean, at the very least, he doesn't have lewd taste. And I just want Zoom over there away from me. Is where that goes.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fair. I was just asking for clarity.
Sure.
Like, I didn't fully kind of like if you listen to the initial thing that you said. Like, there's a lot of implications that can be made out of that, and that's why I was wanting to understand fully.
I totally understand. Yeah, I didn't get into and I didn't police my speech as much as I should have, especially towards the end of the stream, because I was getting tired and fed up, and I was starting to become a very impatient, angry cricket.
And then I mentioned the word doxing, and then you spurg out.
Yes,
it's like
we had debated it so long, and I was sick of it.
This is
where doxing for 6,000 hours at that point, and had to discuss it again and again.
Yeah, I didn't mean to snap at you too hard, Vlad. I'm sorry I did that. It's just at that point in the stream, we did not want that topic on the table.
I'm not sorry.
Banned from the server?
Really? And this is where I will disagree with fucking Tyro of like, okay, I think a better example would be Godbotherer. Like, we've seen him in a bunch of chats where we know he just says shit to just fucking say shit to rouse people, right?
Or Iron Cancer, maybe?
Oh, garbage. Yeah. In our chat?
Okay, yeah, if I'm Cancer said I'm a pedophile, I wouldn't take him seriously at all because he always says crazy stuff.
But and like this is where I kind of go like fucking what Zoom said with all that fucking bullshit what you brought up, fucking him saying that, like, that's a different thing where, like, he's backpedaling. And that's why I brought it up. Like, he's backpedaling because he said it, but then as soon as people call him on it, he's like, no, I'm just trolling.
Okay.
But somebody like Godbotherer or I Am Cancer said it, you're like, I know that's fucking bullshit because you're just a fucking, piece of shit person like that.
I think you've done a good job of establishing like the two cases, like what Anu is saying. Like, so if a troll says I'm a pedo, is it the fault of the person takes it seriously? It depends on how it's done. If it's done like I Am Cancer or Godbotherer, then yeah, if you took that seriously, that's on you. But if it's done like I Am, like Zoom did it, then okay, maybe you have a little more credibility to take that seriously.
Look. To me, a troll. Sorry, just real quick. Sorry, a person that's a troll is a person always saying "I always lie."
Yes. Yeah, that is how you present. If that's how you present yourself online, then don't expect to be taken seriously. And if someone does take you seriously, yes, there is some fault there. That's what Scooby apologized for. He apologized for taking GCV seriously when he shouldn't have, and for getting serious when he shouldn't have. He let the troll under his skin, and he said, I shouldn't have behaved that way. I'm sorry for that. Burnside also. So,
okay, sorry to interrupt you, Lo-Fi. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's been said, so it doesn't matter now.
Sorry, waifu.
Actually, I didn't really want to rehash on the whole Chaos 120 and the other group. I didn't want to rehash on that because it's a dead horse.
You're welcome.
We beat the fuck out of Moxley on that one.
So. Moxley, no, it's as a new law. Moxley's not into horses anymore. He's into green ducks. It's in the Discord everywhere.
Oh, I know.
He's into what?
But I'm gonna ask you and Lo-Fi this since you guys have just came in. What is your versions of doxing? Because like I said, I've seen this, and a lot of other people seen this in the stream yesterday, and that's one of the reasons why I did this. Is everyone has their own interpretation of what doxing is. And when everyone here explained their version of it, it's different from everyone else's.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's try to establish what is similar, what is dissimilar, and what we can all agree on of, okay, this can be legitimately, okay, this person did this person did not. So Bubuffians, go ahead and explain what your definition of doxing is.
You remember what Anti-Hero said about private information and stuff like that? But not DMs unless they contain private information and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I consider that doxing. That's it. I do, and the same degree to him, I consider it extremely low if you share a DM just publicly and such. And if there is private information like name, anything in that regard, telephone number, workplace, anything, that's doxing. But otherwise, it's just assholey. But
so private conversations.
Private. I don't consider private conversation doxing unless the real name or anything associated to the person's real life is in there. If it's just like if I'm talking to Cell and Cell is being a now, since we're using the word, he is planning to rob a bank, and I just decide to show Tyro that Cell is planning to rob a bank. I wouldn't consider that doxing unless Cell's name was in there, and it said, let's call him Ingrid Schmückmück. That's what his name was in there. But then I would consider, okay, now it's doxing, but besides that...
Okay, so you're talking about anything that has any kind of identifiable...
Yes. So if
private information.
See, a good point is there's a line to this though. Like, see with when Antoine totally accidentally doxed Mountain Dew. I forgot his name. Dew Meme Lord cunt face workplace, because at that point Dew's name was associated with his real life work and such. So anything that is that related, so you can find the person from it, I would consider doxing.
Yeah, and like I said, you there's intentional and there's accidental. You gotta differentiate both. Like, I can have somebody come into the chat and that knows me IRL and go, "Hey, what's up, so and so?"
Sparky, I know since I've been doxed in Antoine's Discord by exactly that, by Antoine himself and also another person.
Oh wow!
Used my real name for so long in front of people.
Well, the thing is whenever you say doxing and the intent has to be taken into account. I mean, it doesn't, just because you did so on accident doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't doxing.
No, I agree. I don't like see if it's by accident, I would consider it by the individual person's. I forgave Antoine back then for doxing my name to everyone in the stream. It was an accident. He did it multiple times. It was still an accident. It wasn't malicious, but malicious intent, then it's unforgivable.
Right. Hey, Lo-Fi?
Yeah, I agree.
Lo-Fi, honey? Do you remember I doxed you once?
Wait, where the fuck did Ace go?
Oh, you did as well?
He'll be back.
Yeah, the masterclass thing.
You shit.
That was your fault, though. Still, that's not your fault. You cheated.
I didn't cheat just because I used my own sources in my.
It wasn't fair. You used your own name and your sources after you told me to post the sources. That's not fair.
No, it's something that me and Stormwind had to walk on for a really, really long time, especially when we're recording our videos. Luckily, it's a video, so it's easy to edit out and fix. We called each other by our names all the time. It's like, fuck, retake, do it again. And now that he's actually streaming with me, we've actually got it down to where, he's Stormwind, I'm Sparky, and we kind of just started referring to each other like that in real life too.
Oh,
it's easier.
My best friend from Denmark, I cannot remember. I know his real name. I never use the real name. It's always his online persona. That's how ingrained it's become. And I'm pretty sure when I go and meet Tyro in real life, I'm gonna call him Tyro as well for a long as fucking time.
But I'll be fine.
And all right, now that we heard Lo-Fi's, which I mean, it's same as Aces, or not Aces, Antis. You, Tyro, what's yours?
All right, so I've actually been putting some thought into it. I might make a video on this. I don't know. So I'll just present the thoughts I have so far. So my take on doxing is based on the concept of private sphere, public sphere. This is something Robert Heinlein introduced in some of his sci-fi work. So I take that here. If material is in the private sphere of a person, like if they make it clear that this is hidden, this is not to be disclosed widely, then you release that, then that is doxing. So if someone puts material out into the public sphere themselves, then no, that can't be doxed. Like, so if someone spreads that maliciously, if someone takes something in the public sphere and spreads it maliciously, that's not doxing. That's a bad thing, but it's not doxing. I would not count that as doxing. Like Sally Cohn's address, she has put that into the public sphere herself. So if I go around spreading and say, hey, we need to go burn down Sally Cohn's house, that's not doxing her. That's threatening her. That's a bad thing, but it's not doxing because she has put that out there.
All right, let me read one thing off real quick because see, the method employed to acquire this information includes searching publicly available databases and social media websites. So they include that as part of it.
Yeah, I won't. If it's public, if you publicize, like I've said, I've worked with archaeology and have degree in archaeology, I cannot claim that people dox me by saying, Lo-Fi used to be an archaeologist, even if that's
right.
Yeah.
So I've already announced that I live in Texas. So if someone says Tyro's in Texas, that's not doxing because I've put that out there myself. So
Tyro, you agree with me then when I went over what I consider doxing is basically it's compartmentalization. That if you're on whatever your persona is, like if I know Sparky is, even if I'm doing private DMs with Sparky and Sparky lets me have private information, that's not out of his persona online. Therefore, I can't use that shit. That'd be doxing.
Right.
Yes. So it's basically the same thing I said, just compartmentalization. I just use compartmentalization. That's all.
Oh, okay. Now another key component here, which I don't think has come up yet. Maybe you did. Unfortunately have not been able to listen to the earlier part of the stream because I was on another stream already.
And you were busy and chilling your stuff out too.
Well, yeah. Well,
Tyro, you fucking whore.
Yeah. I'm a sub whore. Yeah. Anyway,
it's fine. You guys can do it.
Besides, I was also teasing you a bit, Sparky. I like poking. I like playing around with you. I can joke with you, Sparky, because you have a sense of humor.
I was gonna say, don't use the word playing around because people will take it the wrong way.
All right. Okay.
He'll play with you.
So I think one thing that people have overlooked possibly is now there can be multiple separate public spheres. So, for example, technically your Facebook page, for example, if you have one, I do not, but if you have a Facebook page, technically that is a public sphere because everything you post there, you're essentially yelling into, the general rule is if you post it on Facebook, we post it on Twitter. You're yelling. It shouldn't be anything you wouldn't want yelled from a crowded public square, essentially. So your Facebook is technically public sphere. Now, that doesn't mean though that your Facebook account and your YouTube account are linked. Okay, they're both public spheres, but they are different public spheres. They are different public spheres where you present yourself differently and you present different information. So there is a metasphere around that governs the relationships and ties between these different public spheres. So if you have not established a connection between two of these public spheres, that X is related to Y, then that knowledge is also doxing if you release it. Yes. So if I knew your personal Facebook and I knew your YouTube and you have not linked those, and I said, hey, these two are linked, that would be doxing because that would be unveiling two areas of your public sphere that you had not revealed as related,
which is exactly what happened initially to Hitsugi.
You're right. Or Vam Candy also had that happen to her.
Yeah,
her personal Facebook was released, and so on. So so you can have many spheres and the relationship between those spheres, the content of that metasphere essentially. So like I tie my Twitter to my YouTube. So someone who says, "Oh, here's Tyro's secret Twitter." No, it's not secret Twitter. It's public.
See, I fully agree, and that's why when I made a YouTube and started getting subscribers and started getting on like Constream and such, I went to my Facebook and I hit everything, deleted everything I didn't want. I changed the picture to something, so now they are connected. But if I hadn't done that, and someone dug out my Facebook with my name and everything, I would consider that doxing. But now it's because now they are linked.
I was going to say, because the thing was when I started when I started back in December when I started this channel, I didn't put out any videos for like 2 months, but even when I started it way back then, I got myself a new Gmail account, I got myself a new Twitter account, I got myself a new, you name it. So there's nothing in my private life tied to any of things I do here. Yeah, and that's like I said it's like I said, it's like I keep telling people, look, it's for me, it's compartmentalization. It depends how I deal with you. Like if I knew your real name, Tyro, when I'm off YouTube, if it was over Facebook Messenger or if it was a text, then I'd call you by your real name. But that shit would never come out on YouTube.
Right. Ever. Exactly. Same. And I did the exact same thing here. Tyro is completely unique to YouTube and that attached Twitter and so on. There is nothing else. I've never used this alias for anything but this. That's it. So that this is very discreetly compartmentalized, and I have a very good reason for doing that. My reasons are similar to Mad Metal Man and why he does that as well. Well, what was I going to say? There was like one other thing, but yeah, the metaspheres. Oh dear. This also applies, by the way, to criminal record. That's right. Because there's been some argument of, if I can find, criminal records are public data, so I should be able to just dig up someone's criminal history and use it against them if they're famous. This happened to Ralph of Ralph Retort, for example. That would still be doxing because yes, the criminal records are public information, but the link between that and their YouTube persona or whatever persona is not public knowledge, is not linked unless that person chooses to reveal it. And so if you go ahead and do that and link the two, then you are doxing that person. That is using someone's criminal history against someone on YouTube is a form of doxing still.
That one is a tough one because I'm not gonna say I speak from personal experience, but I speak from experience dealing with it. Technically, it can be got away with, and you can't find it in court.
Oh no! Well, no. And by the way, yeah, none of this is legal. We should all keep in mind that within the U.S., the current court ruling is that doxing is protected free speech. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's ethical, but it is 100% legal. You can do it with no legal ramifications.
And I would love just real quick, because this just drives me up a goddamn wall, because I'm getting my master's degree in it, and I understand that not everybody knows the difference. So grain of salt with me. I'm just kind of getting my panties in water about it. But the thing is there's a difference between litigation and criminal. So when you say it's illegal, you're talking about the justice system as in a court system. You're not. You're talking about prison and all that stuff. You're not talking about litigation. Litigation is a totally different fucking wheelhouse. The two are completely different.
The litigation would be like civil court, right?
Right.
Like suing somebody.
Yes. That's what litigation is.
I should also point out that in the cases where someone has sued over it, it has still been ruled protected free speech. So current court case says you cannot sue somebody for doxing you, and you cannot bring criminal charges for doxing you.
This is what I said early on. All right, this is basically the thing. If the person didn't break the law when doxing you, quote, then all you have to say is that person is an asshole.
Yeah.
But if they didn't break the law directly, that's all you have to say. And quite frankly, again, unless you are a part of the forum trying to change what the legal statutes on doxing is, your moral views are fucking irrelevant. So
hold on.
That's the whole point here. Like, when it comes to pressing this issue, now granted, you can go and you have the right to try and sue or what have you. But my whole point is ultimately is trying to spin this an entire thing out of somebody sharing a DM, for instance, is fucking pathetic.
Okay, well, hold on. I will disagree with you on terms of your morality is not relevant. Here is why it's a bad thing. So yes, is it legal? Yes, but legal does not mean ethical. Okay, ethics and the law have very little in common these days. What I would say is what doxing represents socially as a social construct. Right, you're correct that there's no legal framework for it, but as a social construct, what doxing is, it's a violation of trust.
Well, but
if somebody violates, if somebody violates trust of another person, then you should be allowed to call that out, and other people should not trust that person, because if they violated trust on one, they'll violate trust on you too.
But what I'm trying to get at,
that's why it's as such a stigma to it. It demonstrates someone who cannot be trusted. Period.
But here's the thing, and this is what I'm trying to get at with that. Whenever I say that your morality is irrelevant, whenever I say that, like, there is the law, and then there's everything else. Now there's nothing wrong with, or there's a lot of things wrong with, but you can attempt to publicly shame people for a social stigma all you want. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. That doesn't stop people from doing it, or at least that doesn't punish the people that do. And secondarily, if you trust somebody with your private information, you are just as much to blame as to some degree or another, or at least just as much responsible as the person who shared that information you entrusted them with. You shouldn't have done that to begin with. So you need to take responsibility for it if that happened to you.
If you trusted somebody and they were not worthy of that trust, yes, you do have some fault for being a bad judge of character. I'll agree. I'll go that far, but
that's all I'm saying there. But I mean, but at the same time, you joined the internet. If you wanted absolute privacy, you shouldn't have fucking joined the internet.
Right. I knew, but you got to be very careful with that shit, because now it sounds like you're making the argument, I punched you, but you came outside, so don't cry. That's a fucking bitch argument, dude. Don't make that argument.
No. The reason why that isn't the case is because it's similar to something somebody said earlier on, which is, and I think it was you, Anubis. You see, with the internet, it's a separate world from reality with separate rules. And so,
no, I didn't say separate rules. I said the two are distinct in how you treat them and who you interact with. And if we're talking about doxing, now you're mixing worlds. That's the very point of it.
Yeah. Well, my whole point here is that whenever I say don't join, actually, when I say don't join the internet, it doesn't just apply to doxing. It applies to far more than that. It also applies to being threatened. It applies to your anxiety disorders. It applies to all of that. If you can't take being hit, don't join the arena. And that's my ultimate point.
So you're basically stating just know your limits.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and the thing is like, I don't like it when people join the internet and then like let's say really attractive women, and then flaunt themselves and complain they're getting flirted with. This is the level of thinking that I see with people who are dox complainers.
So I mean, so Anu, I think you are pointing out a very good thing that can get forgotten on the internet these days, because as the internet has gotten more and more tame, I do remember the wilderness. Yes, here there be monsters. Yep. That is the sign, or alternatively, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Those are the welcoming signs to the internet. Yeah, that's how it used to be. I mean, I think you are remembering those days, and you're bringing that back. I can agree with that. Yes, if you're on the internet, it is on you to be cautious, and it is on you to be wary. If you are eaten by a wild monster, then well, you shouldn't have gone into a place where the signs say there are wild monsters there. So on that point, I'll agree. At the same time, though, I will say, though, making doxing a social stigma on the internet, though, is not a fruitless endeavor. I would say that's a good thing.
I'm not saying it's a fruitless endeavor. What I'm trying to say is, ultimately, if you're not trying to actively change a law, if you're just going around moral fagging your moral view on doxing, you are literally wasting everybody's fucking time. And that's ultimately my point. Because again, as I mentioned earlier on, a lot of people consider posting DMs irrelevant of reason as doxing and irrelevant of context. And I will sit here. If you tell me that like, for instance, and I know somebody said this is a bitch move, and frankly, I don't really give a shit. If you tell me, like, if you posted something on Twitter and you said, well, Vlad said that I'm a faggot at this, like, just now, I will post that whole fucking DM conversation without remorse. Like, I will do it at any time, for any reason, just to win. I don't. Wait, hold
on. But hold on. If someone accuses you of a thing, and the counter evidence to that is the DM exchange, you are justified in presenting the counter.
Yeah, but not everybody agrees with that. That's what I'm trying to get.
Well, that's
yeah, no, I'll side with you on that one too, Anu. That's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are people out there who will literally say, like, there is absolutely zero reason to share a DM ever.
Yeah, but fuck DMs. Of course, you can share DM for reasons. There's multiple reasons to share DM. Yeah. What do I do, by the way, since doxing is illegal in Denmark? So I guess I can run around.
Yeah, that's fair.
Back on the internet.
And Anu, I think
I'm from Denmark. I'm better than you.
No, you're not. Because
by the way. Yes, it is, and it's also illegal to dox dead people in Denmark.
No, lo-fi. Denmark, we've already established this. Denmark is not better than the United States, because I can watch a music video and you can't. So right there.
Oh, hey, do you want me to find a music video you can't watch? Let me find my favorite song.
No!
So what is
stupid argument?
Oh, damn it. I hate that song now. Yeah, because it got fucking... It's still copyright blocked, by the way. God damn it.
So I was name called, Anubis. What was that?
The what?
You said yeah.
No, I was saying basically what you're talking about is the folks that love to the thing where, because I agree with you on this, because I was talking about a person intentionally going out there and doing it for no other reason than to do it. But the thing what you're talking, I think, about is more of the aspect of the people that like in akin to virtue signaling, where they go, oh, look, somebody did something, they blame somebody, and then they come out with the DMs, and then they go, oh, look, no, he's a doxer, kind of a thing. I think that's what you're talking about. They set you up and reel you in.
Right. And like I said earlier today, I passed this along. I had somebody say one thing. I said, I had somebody say that in the past I had said something. I said, no, I didn't. They called me a liar. I released a DM, a specific snippet of the DM where the person who called me a liar was actually the one who said it. I didn't. They said, their response was, you made that up, blah, blah, blah. I released literally our entire DM chain with each other. And in that, I released something that they had told me where they said, their husband had been shot and torn up in the global war on terror by a machine gun nest. And I was accused of doxing that person's husband, even though I didn't even know who the fuck they were. There's no names or anything like that. So, it's like something like that. I'm going to release the DMs because you've called me a liar. You've called into question my integrity. And, oh, by the way, you're the goddamn liar.
I know. I get you. I feel you on that. I got to go, guys. Much love to y'all, but I got to run.
Okay.
Good, nice. Nice
Hey,
talking to you guys.
maybe we should all join Trippy's hangout and start talking about. That's where Ace is. So Ace is on Trippy.
Yeah, I want to see Trippy's boobs.
Yeah, we should all hop on Trippy and start talking about doxing.
Yes.
Oh God.
Let's
finish this one out first.
Huh?
Do you have the hangout link?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
I'm about to ask him.
Yeah, let's finish this one out and then we'll go.
All right,
Well,
I'm gonna jump off.
See you later, Anubis. Now go away.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I've been telling everybody who leaves to get the fuck out. So whatever.
Yeah. Lo, you actually had a question for Spectre because I know you were asking it in the stream.
It's because I've heard so much different shit from 10,000 sources. The fuck is that up with the doxing, the maybe not doxing?
I'll go over.
That if someone did something to you, you would dox them. I got to see. That's
okay. So I'll go over this again. Short and sweet of it. I was involved with a guy. He's alt-right. I'm talking like legitimate white supremacist, works with Mike Enoch, blah, blah, blah. I was part of his little clique, I guess you could say. And when I cut off ties with them, because I'm not a white supremacist, I don't even play one on television, he took it personally and he said, he wanted my docs. I had been sent screenshots from his little server, his doxing server, where he was saying he wanted my personal information to use against me. I ignored it for about 2 weeks up until he publicly threw one of his friends, one of his supporters, one of his heaviest supporters under the bus because of something she didn't do. I took that seriously. He sent me some information that I told him previously, by the way, don't send it to me. But he had sent me some information, and using the information he sent me, we got everything that we thought was his information off of Army Knowledge Online, which is like the Army's like database on soldiers and stuff like that. And I made it clear that I had that information, and if he dropped my docs, I would drop his in turn. Making the threat, even to this day, it's a shitty thing. I shouldn't have done it, but I was in the moment. I let emotion go through it. Now, here's where they like to try to make it sound like I doxed him. I gave this information to his commanding officer because the guy claimed that he was in the National Guard. And I gave it to his commanding officer because he was in violation of military law. You cannot be a white supremacist. You cannot talk about or push forth something like that. Black supremacy, white supremacy, doesn't matter. You're not allowed to do that. Vamp Candy, Tonka, Zell as well. They say that I doxed this guy, even though I never made anything public. I sent it to the authorities because I was required to. So that's where the whole I'm a doxer thing comes from.
Okay, this reminds me of like what was done with Ross. Like they found Ross's docs, but they didn't release them publicly. Instead, they gave him to the school and they gave him to the local police to say, hey, this guy's an admitted pedophile. He's working with kids. You should probably at least keep an eye on him, if not fire him. They didn't release it publicly, so they didn't dox Ross. They got his info and gave it to the authorities.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and this is why they're so hell-bent on saying that I'm a doxer. Tonka Saw and Vamp Candy threw in with this guy Tonka in particular had paid for information on this guy named Zeph. He had offered to pay $1,000, I believe it was, on this guy's information. And Joaquim, the guy who I'm accused of doxing, was also trying to get this information. Tonka and Joaquim were working together to dox this person. And Tonka has still thrown in with him. And ever since this came out, Tonka's kind of tried to deflect away from this. Vamp Candy's tried to deflect away from this. So I kind of became their whipping boy, and they can quickly say, Spectre's doxing people, Spectre's doxing people. And they kind of mobilize a hate group, I guess you could say. I hate to use the term, but they've kind of galvanized their followers to say the exact same thing, which I think that's what you were hearing, Lo-Fi, was a lot of it was coming from Zell, Vamp, and Tonka and whatnot, saying that I'm a doxer.
Okay. Actually, I've heard it too. Okay, so all right, wow, you wait, so you're that Spectre. Okay, yes. Now I know you're where I've heard of you before, because I remember this. Okay, because I wasn't completely sure on the backstory with Joaquim, especially and how he tied into Zoom and all that stuff. But okay, now this is making a little more sense. Now I know where I've heard of you. Okay.
Yeah, I hate to go to Spectre's defense. I really, really do. But as a serviceman, I believe he is actually legally a mandated reporter, and failure to turn over said information to the proper authorities could result in the penalty upon him.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I'm no longer bound by the UCMJ because I'm technically not reservist, but I am subject to recall for life, which does add other things to it. Beyond that, I love the service. I love my country, and as far as I am concerned, someone like that is a blight on the service. If he were to go to war, how could I trust that the Jewish kids under his command or the black kids under his command would be, he would treat them as fairly as, the white kids and whatnot. It's an issue of doing the right thing in this instance, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because in my state, once you've been determined a mandated reporter, you're a mandated reporter for life. I'm a mandated reporter. So, as far as I know, it's not something that goes away.
Now, I think it's probably worth noting, though, Spectre, that I don't believe that this is their only accusation against you. I understand, this particular one, you have a good explanation for. I believe there are other things that they accuse you of that I'm not totally familiar with. If I knew them, I would bring them up for you to, address. But, yeah, I think there's other stuff on there.
The only other thing that they have pointed to is I shared the picture that Joaquim had sent me, despite me telling him not to. I cropped out the information. I shared the picture from the CAC card he showed me, and this was literally after Joaquim had said, sharing a picture, no matter what, is not doxing. And he had done it to Anal Vape, and he had done it to a few people. Him and Tonka were both on the record as saying sharing a picture is not doxing. Is it a shitty thing to do? Yeah, it can be, but it's not doxing.
I do.
I would say face reveals are doxing.
Yes, I would. I do consider that as well doxing.
I would too. Within for the most part, I would too. But at the same time, it's
you could do a reverse search of most pictures and just find the info on the person.
Yeah, as I said, that's the closest you can come to, and even I'll say, it was probably a shitty thing to do.
The other main thing I've heard, because I understand the first one. I don't have much. So the sharing the picture was silly. I understand why some might say that, and the threatening, even if it's I'll dox you if you dox me. That's
no. Even I'll say I've said since day one. I told Antoine this. I told everybody this. Was it shitty? Absolutely. Is there an excuse for it? No. But anybody I talk to, they're like, I can understand you wanting a little insurance, but making the threat was incredibly dumb. I agree. It was incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
You're what? I'm kidding.
Okay. All right. And I will say the photo thing. I mean, even though Tonka Joaquin may have said photos aren't docs. I mean, I view photo releases as doxing. So I would say that I would have to say that I do regard you as having doxed Joaquin in that case. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. I'm gonna have to say, yeah, you did dox. If you released a photo of Joaquin, that was private. Yeah, you doxed Joaquin then. At least that is my take.
No, wasn't that the one you were talking about that it wasn't even him?
Apparently, it wasn't even him. Yeah.
Well, here's my. Well, okay. Well,
no,
okay, I thought it was him. Okay, sorry.
So hold on. Here's what it is. And I've got the email to back this up. What Joaquin sent me, because when I sent it to the adjutant general of his guard, they called the kid in because once again, white supremacy? No, they called the kid in. Did not look like the guy on the card. 100% did not look like the guy on the card. So here's the theory: is that he took 2 CAC cards, cut out the picture on one, threw it on a picture of like the card itself on another, and went from there. And from what it sounds like, Joaquin's stolen valor. He's not even in the military, despite saying he is.
Penis.
Yes. I mean,
well, here's my question. This is actually a decent question. So the photo, was it like off of something like Facebook?
It looks like it honestly looked like a boot camp photo that, if you've been through the military, you get your initial CAC card, your initial ID, and you get a boot camp photo on it. And that's what it looks like. It looks like that.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be public information? The photo?
Not really. I mean, mine is out there. But that's been out there since before I released my information, but still, I can't say yes or no. I didn't do it.
I mean, to be fair, I'm ignorant on these specifics on the military, so that's why I'm asking.
Right.
So, I didn't know if the CAC card specifically was public information or not.
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't looked into it.
I don't believe that it is.
Well, if it is, it's not doxing. It's not doxing any more than me putting a Beethoven song in a YouTube video.
As far as I know, only government employee whose information is public domain is anybody associated with politics. So, like the generals, maybe, but most of the soldiers, I highly doubt it.
Well, battalion commanders and stuff like that, you can find their pictures easily too. Like you go to Wikipedia, and you can find like a bunch of battalion commanders, like current and former. You can find their pictures and stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't looked. So is it possible? Yeah, but at the same time, everything I've been told is none of this information was legit. This apparently is not Joaquin, is what it comes down to.
So that puts a whole new twist in it.
I mean, keep in mind, he's if he's engaging in stolen valor, the stolen valor part's not a felony anymore. That was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2008 or something like that,
which is absurd.
But if he's passing off somebody else's photo and card as his own, he's engaging in identity theft, and that's when it becomes a federal felony.
Am I the only one that's hearing echo or the stream in his background?
I hear echo as well.
Well, it's not me. I've got headphones on.
So do I.
Probably me. Hold on.
I also have headphones.
All right, I'll mute myself here.
No, keep talking. Never stop.
I think it's you.
It's not as bad.
I mean, I put in the sidebar. I put in the email I got from the JAG officer. Once again, it was a shitty thing to do. Even I'll agree with that.
Well, it kind of comes down to the same part as what happened to Scooby and the other people in that whole mess.
I just watched that shit show today at work.
I feel so sorry.
Which shit show? The Constream one?
Yep.
Why would you ever watch that? Holy shit.
Because I watch everything. I have nothing else to do but listen to other people complain about each other.
You should have watched me and Tyros instead, since that was...
Well, send me the link, Lo-Fi. I don't know what happened, but apparently I got unsubscribed from you.
They spammed it throughout my chat. It's at the very beginning.
I'll check it out.
But no, since Slayer Raver came in, it's only fair. This will be the last one. Go ahead and explain your definition of doxing.
Well, me personally, I don't have a definition of doxing, but like what legal doxing is in the United States, and it only exists in a few states. I don't remember which ones. California is one of them. Is where you obtain information that cannot be publicly obtained and you spread it with malicious intent. And in order to prove that somebody doxed you and to charge them legally for it, you have to not only prove that your information could not be achieved somewhere publicly, but you also must prove that they spread it with malicious intent, which is a lot harder than what it sounds.
Look at Hillary Clinton.
What's that?
Said, look at Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Slayer's a traitor. Having the same debate on Twitter, and he's siding with Cody on the whole damn thing.
Siding with Cody? I hadn't sided with anybody.
You were liking all of Cody's tweets.
And all of yours.
Are you really going that far, really? Dude,
I got to mention all of his as well.
Dude, Vlad.
How would you like to suck my balls?
Well, screw you guys. I'm going home.
No, I mean, like, I think people over-exaggerate when they some information gets pushed out. Most of the time, it's some shit somebody found on Facebook, or it's just like some photo that was posted sometime when, and they're like, "Oh no, you doxed me," and then you know, shut up. They didn't dox you. That information was already out there, and that's kind of where I get generally annoyed with it. But every once in a while, there are legitimate doxing cases where somebody goes out of their way and they pull information that they're not supposed to have, and they do use that to target somebody.
Kind of like Spectre.
And you can also still make a liable case out of situations that are similar to doxing. It just depends on how much information you collect, but you should always handle these situations legally if you want to have some kind of impact.
But I want to say, like honestly, I think there are very few people who will legitimately, with malicious intent, dox people. Like that's something that I do want to make really clear. Like I don't think there are very many people out there compared to the vast majority that would actually be that fucking crazy. It takes a certain kind of fucking person to do that on purpose with malicious intent.
Yeah, usually it's related to activism when someone's being doxxed, or counter-activism, which is pretty much the exact same thing.
Well, and to be fair, cases. I heard the accusations of Spectre getting accused of being a doxer, and the only reason I kind of just, brushed it aside was merely because Spectre really, if he's in SJW, he's a shitty one. And that's ultimately like the point there, because the only people I've ever noticed doxing anybody is primarily activists such as SJWs. So
yeah, political extremists. Yeah, they usually are the ones who actually do doxing. But people throw the word around so much you think it's happening all the time. It's really not. And and some people, they can't be doxed. They'll go forward and they'll say something like, I'm been doxed and here's why, but really their information's on Facebook. So it's like, well, you can't be doxed. I'm sorry, but you can't. It's like me. If someone ever gets my name, I cannot legally be doxxed because my information is public domain. I don't have a choice in it.
Your name is Brian.
No, nice try though.
Britannia.
Well, sure, let's go with that.
Is it
Britannia?
Is it Brittany Vendy?
You'll never figure it out.
I'm getting close. How close? Which letters are correct?
A through Z.
I'll tell you which is correct. The number 4.
Is your name is your name Flanagan?
My name is 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is just gonna be the Sparky. Your next stream is gonna be me trying to guess Slayer Raven's name for 4 hours plus. That's it. You have a new
get some views.
Yeah, I was thinking you probably could.
I can probably get some views on that one. Who knows?
Okay,
But
well
no.
that's the deal. Next weekend I'll guess your name, Slayer.
You may certainly try.
Hey, so to close out this stream, how about I go ahead and just announce a little recent development? So, as you guys know, Jeremy Hambley was attacked at Gen Con. So people have been saying, "Hey, Gen Con, you should release a statement. Hey, Gen Con, you should release a statement." They've been deleting all the posts on social media. They've been actively suppressing it. Like if you ask about it on the Twitch stream, you're banned. If you ask about it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, you're banned. Well, turns out today, this morning, Gen Con gave a boost to a vendor. It's the vendor who attacked Jeremy. And they said, "Hey, go buy this game. It's 25% off. Here's their boost."
Brilliant.
number." Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I
and
retweeted
Gen Con
that.
is aware that this guy attacked Jeremy Hambley. They are very aware of it. It has been
My
brought to their
theory-
attention by hundreds of people.
My
Not
theory
thousands.
is that we're not going to get a response. I said this in the my video I did on this. We're not going to get a response from Gen Con probably until Sunday evening when it's ending. They're not going to want to draw any attention to this, but at the same time, it'll hang over their head for a year.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll probably get a. We are aware that this happened, but because it didn't happen on the property, there's nothing we can do about it.
But here's the thing: now they are actively promoting the business owned by the attacker. Like,
Right.
if they didn't want this to hang over their heads, they wouldn't have done that. They're doing that deliberately.
Hey, that right there, though, I'm telling you, it shocked me because I was following that, and people were pretty much siding with them up until that point. And it's like everybody in the middle turned on them at that exact moment. I think that was royally screw up. Like, I think PR probably got fired over that.
I mean, I'm gonna say right now, I'm almost tempted to go down to his store at some point, not to do anything untoward, but he's not that far from me. So it's like I kind of want to go there and be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Oh God.
I wouldn't recommend that.
No, I wouldn't either.
Well, no, just go there and like be playing the quartering videos on high blast on your phone, and then just stand there and be like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do? Punch me?"
No, fuck that. Play the Kekistani national anthem.
Oh God, yeah! Bust
No,
out any flag, any anthem, and get it posted on social media. You'll get a store shut down.
Yeah, buy all the shirts as well. Just dress as a Kek.
Yeah.
Saying you need a Sarkeesian and such.
Just go in, just start blaring the frickin' the Soviet theme from Command and Conquer.
And
No,
look like a mix
Soviets,
between Sargon of
Soviets,
Akkad and Jeremy Hambley and multiple others. Look like the love child between that group of people.
Hey, somebody did this photo recently with like everybody's face over somebody else's face or something like that. It looked really cool. Make a T-shirt out of that and walk in there wearing the entire skeptic community. Just watch his head explode.
It would be great.
But anyways, we've been going on for about 3 hours now. It's been 3 hours now. So we're going to go and close it down. Basically, the premise of the stream was to
bore people.
Besides bore people.
Success.
You know what? I'm not going to be that mean. Never mind. Anyways.
Be mean.
Nah. Anyways, this was just to kind of demonstrate what everyone's views are of what doxing is. And everyone has a different view.
I'm correct. Everybody else is wrong.
Oh, shut up, lad.
Anyways.
Bathroom faggot.
Whatever. I mean, I'm fine with that. I hang out in a fucking bathroom. Who fucking cares?
He is a bathroom philosopher.
That's exactly, yeah.
But there is a lot of gray area, like you were saying, Tyro, and this is a topic that can go on forever because you can get 20 more people, and I guarantee we'll get 20 more different examples. And it's just one of those deals when it comes down to doxing. Unless you got absolute legitimate proof that someone's gonna dox you, don't make a big issue out of it. Don't make a big deal out of it because you just make it worse. Play it down until you can't play it down no more. And whenever you came out and you want to accuse someone of doxing, think about that too, because it can affect the other person just as bad, especially if they didn't do anything about it.
And make sure if you accuse someone of doxing that they actually doxed in the evidence you provide.
Yes.
Not just take it. He mentioned the state. He's doxing now.
And it's not in the same state.
So apparently, according to the grand AIDS that is Twitter, because I said that basically enter at your own risk, the internet, I am victim blaming.
Oh, I mean, like, how dare you?
How dare I complain about a slut that walks into a bar fucking basically naked and then gets flirted with and eventually raped? Or, I mean, like, how dare I say she should take responsibility for being a filthy slut?
Anyways,
and that was Vlad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Vlad. Anyways, I want to thank everyone that was here. Let me go through. We had myself, Spectre, Anubis, Vlad, Ace of Skulls, Cadunt, Gen Z, and it had a podcast. We had visits from Tyro, Lo-Fi, Raven. I want to thank you all for joining us. Please, you guys, give me your YouTubes and your Twitters, and I'll paste them to the description, put them in side chat. And with that, I'm going to play this one clip, and we're out.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap.
Why is